We got into a pursuit in Compton. Guy had tried killing his family with a machete, got away, called it out to us, and me and another deputy are behind him in foot pursuit. We end up chasing him back to his house, and he jumps out, and he's got a pickaxe, and he runs up the walkway to his front door. He's trying to get in, and he stops, and he turns around, and he screams at us and raises it over his head and starts running towards us going, "Ah!" And we dropped him. And while we're shooting him, I get tugged on me by a 10-year-old kid telling me to stop killing his dad.
Holy shit.
He had...
Robert, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, dude, real quick, before we get started, we're going to send you home with a fresh loaf of bread from the Little Ones Bakery. So the sour beef, anybody, our guests love supporting, and, you know, it started as a homeschool project, and now it's
awesome.
Turned into bread. I never thought I would be in the baking business, but here we are. And then I'm going to send you home with a Wild Chaos tea. So let's jump into this, dude. We have a conversation ahead of us for a few reasons. One, you've done 25 years as a law enforcement officer in LA, which I am sure is the wildest adventure and time of your life. With 25 years in there, and during that time, you really focus on the gang units, the organized crime. As a detective, worked your way through the ranks inside of that department. So I'm sure you got to experience so many different levels of LA, the corruption, and just how that city really functions, probably under the street level that most people never get a chance to see. During that 25 years, you met your wife, which you have now, and you guys both retired as detectives.
I was a sergeant. She was a detective.
Sorry, sergeant. Yeah. She was a detective, which I would like to get into a little bit about that, because I feel law enforcement, first responder community is very, very difficult on the marriages. And then for both of you to be serving, I'm sure there was a lot of learning and being able to traverse having a marriage where you guys are probably on opposite shifts and ship sailing in the middle of the night phrase. I'm sure that was probably quite common for you guys, and then to obviously make it out of there and retire. And so eventually you end up coming here to Idaho, where you now sit on the board in Eagle as a council member, and you are trying to make some changes and bringing a lot of different laws, rules, perspectives to old school dinosaur thinking Idaho, which doesn't like to evolve, which is a great thing in certain areas, but others, we need to get caught up with the times. And so you're making a lot of cool changes there. So let's just dive into this. I want to really talk gangs, the depths of that, because it fascinates me, of the organized crime, the systems, how there's so many layers inside. We just want to look at them as just tattooed MS-13 members, and these guys don't know shit. They're just pushing drugs on the corner, but they're really sophisticated when you get down into the depths of them. So that's what I want to jump in today. So, Robert, who are you? Where are you from?
Well, I was born in the San Fernando Valley in Southern California. My mom and I, pretty much my whole life, my dad took off when I was young. He went to Vietnam, came back, kind of a mess, drinking and drugs and all kinds of stuff.
So sorry to hear that.
My mom kind of took us, and we bolted. Changed my name, my last name.
Really?
Yeah.
That bad, huh?
And I didn't know any of this.
Oh, okay.
This is all, I'll button hook it around to how I found out all this stuff. So I pretty much grew up my whole life thinking my dad just split. My mom didn't disparage him or anything like that. Grew up kind of poor, single parent family. She's working as hard as she can. We moved probably, 8, 10, 12 times when I was a kid. She always kept me in the same school, though.
Okay.
Private school. Out in Granada Hills, Pinecrest. And when I was 9 years old, she was dating a San Fernando police officer, and he got shot and killed on Christmas Eve.
No.
And so that was kind of like my upbringing. It was kind of bouncing around, didn't have a lot of money, evicted a couple times from apartments we were living in. She was doing the best she could. Mm-hmm. And then she started dating a guy. I liked him. He took me in the patrol car. I went to the station, got to see everything, and thought it was the best thing when he turned on the lights and siren and took me through a red light. And then I woke up on Christmas Eve morning in 1980, and he had been shot and killed.
Damn.
So after that, my mom kind of dinged out a little bit. She had his off-duty weapon, backup weapon, and a composite sketch. And she was driving around the San Fernando Valley over in San Fernando area where he had been killed, looking for the suspect. And I was with grandparents, and They ended up catching the guy about a year later, I want to say, maybe in Texas. And the guy's on, I don't think he's on death row because he got sentenced to death, but Rose Bird in the Supreme Court back then, they got rid of the death penalty, so he got life.
Okay.
But after that incident happened, we picked up and we moved to Simi Valley. And we moved around a little bit in Simi, but I went to school in Simi, went to Simi High School. And I became a police explorer during that period of time.
What's
with
that?
Simi PD. It's like a cadet program for kids 14 years old to 21. I try to bring them into law enforcement.
Oh, that's cool.
Them,
Okay.
doing fingerprinting details, traffic control details, ride-alongs. And I did that for Simi PD for 2.5, 3 years until we had a scandal. Our explorer advisor was having a fling with one of our juvenile explorers. He went to jail over it, but they shut our program down. But in that time frame, I had met a bunch of friends, cops, doing ride-alongs, saw some crazy stuff early in my life doing that. And then
as you're explaining this, I'm like, God, they're putting 14-year-olds in ride-alongs. Like, this is
So I was 16, and we went on a domestic violence call, East Simi Valley. As we were pulling in, I was with the one-man unit, obviously. And as we're turning in, the suspect husband's driving out. So we flip a U-turn, follow him out into the San Fernando Valley on Topanga Canyon Boulevard at the 118. The guy gets off the freeway, gets back on the freeway, stops, puts a gun to his head, and shoots himself right in front of us. And I was 16 years old. So, when I say my young age, I was already exposed to a lot.
Yeah.
And
they were probably like, and we're done with this program at that point.
So, those things happen.
For sure.
So that wasn't a catalyst. It was just the relationship thing with our explorer captain. But,
holy shit.
So I ended up, when I lost that program, it was like everything to me. I was playing tennis in high school and stuff like that, but I ended up kind of just going off on a little bit on a tangent. Like I was 17 then by that time when the Explorers got shut down.
Yep.
Started dating a 22-year-old girl, partying all the time. School took a back seat, and I didn't have enough credits to graduate with my class. So I ended up moving out of my mom's house for like 6 months, caught my girlfriend cheating on me and said, oh, crap, I need to get my life in order. I ended up taking the GED and went to college. And during that same time frame, one of my buddies from Simi PD became an explorer at LA County Sheriff's in Malibu. He's like, you got to check it out, dude. Just come over and check it out. It's badass. And I said, okay, I'll go check it out. I ended up being an explorer for 3 years until I aged out. I was testing. They were on a hiring freeze, and then they lifted the freeze, so I started testing. And but during that time of being an explorer at Malibu, I got involved in all kinds of stuff there too. And I started getting that nickname, being a shit magnet. Like if I was riding along, something bad would happen or whatever. And I know a lot of people have that nickname. I've heard it in military, I've heard it in police, in fire department, and paramedics and ambulance. Like if something's on, something big's gonna happen. There's always one shit magnet on the shift that always happens to be working. I just happen to be that one for us.
Which could be the greatest person to have around or the worst person to have around, depending on what's going on, for sure. We all know those guys.
Especially if the shit magnet walks into dispatch and says, it's quiet tonight, isn't it? And you use that Q word, you just jinxed them. So, so I met a lot of movie stars when I was down there because it was Malibu, and fell in love with it. And I never wanted to be a deputy because I didn't want to work custody. I wanted to go straight to the streets. And when you become a sheriff's deputy, you got to do the jail first, typically. Sometimes you go to courts first, but most of the time it's custody. And
that shit's got to suck.
It does. So, but I didn't want to be a sheriff's explorer for that reason. I'm like, well, I'd rather be Simi PD, but that program's done, but I'll try it. And then I fell in love with it. So I ended up hanging out with deputies off duty, and I was I was still under 21, but they trusted me a lot because of stuff that I had been involved in. And I became very good friends with quite a few guys, including Jake Karigian, which I'll explain later.
Well, you almost have 5-6 years on the force as in that program, correct?
Like a volunteer.
Yeah,
basically.
But they're probably hiring cops that have less time than you have as on the volunteer program doing that. So yeah, you've done your time. You know these guys, and you probably have a relationship with a bunch of them at this point.
And it molded me for later in my life. I had a ton of knowledge going in
for sure.
Starting. So I do the Explorer program, I age out, and I get a job with an ambulance company, and I got my EMT certification. I ended up doing that for 5.5 years, roughly.
Okay, how'd you like that?
It was fun. I mean, most of it, initially, for the years, I worked dispatch, and I was EMT certified, and then I was on dispatch, and then several of my buddies became field supervisors, and I just started going out and working with them all the time, and going on head-on accidents and chest pains and, kid stuff. That's the kind of things that I was like, it wasn't really my wheelhouse. I didn't want to be a paramedic. But it was a lot of fun, but at the same time, there was bad days too. If that makes sense. Seeing that end of it on the medical side, where when you're law enforcement, you roll to the scene, you handle the initial, and then you're directing traffic, taking a report, talking to witnesses and victims. When you're on that side of it, you're putting hands on. And everybody throws up, and then people die. It's just a different level. You go on the ERs all the time and stuff, so it's a little bit different. But so I tested while I was working for the ambulance company. I tested for the sheriff's department again, and I got through the entire process. I was running all the time, and we were working out like crazy. 3 of my friends, and 2 weeks before the academy date, I was done with everything, done with backgrounds, done with everything. I get my oral psych. And I go sit down with this lady. They called her the Dragon Lady in L.A. County. Anybody that ever worked L.A. County back then probably have heard of her. She was somebody you did not want. She was somebody that if you got in the office that day, you just hoped that one of the other lights next to one of the other psychs on the wall was the one that lit up for you, and I got her. And so
the shit magnet, of course.
She was a complete freaking bitch to me. And I sat there and I took it, and
what's she doing? Just grilling you on questions about your life, past experiences, things like that?
Yeah, and kind of like, who the heck do you think you are even applying for this? You're not qualified. Like, just kind of berating you to see what because they want to see how you're going to respond. If you're going to lose your cool, which I get that part of it, but I didn't.
Do you look back at it now and realize that she was actually probably doing a really good job at her job, or was she just an asshole?
She passed like 10%.
Oh, okay.
And she failed me. And so I ended up at the time, one of the deputies I had worked with or ridden along with, he gave me $425. He's like, dude, you got to get hired. Like, go to the other site because you can pay to appeal with L.A. County. You probably can't anywhere, I don't know, but L.A. County. So they had other psychs on staff around the county that can do the same thing. So I pay the $425. I go to the other psych interview, and this lady's like, there's no reason why you shouldn't be hired. Like, this is a no-brainer.
There's the scam. She's probably getting a kickback of all these dudes that are paying extra to go see other psychs.
She was real cool. And I'll tell you that that'll come back around again, too, later. But so she writes her letter to the county. The problem is that the head psych was the Dragon Lady. So she would get the appeals. She's not going to overrule her own ruling. So she upheld her own original thing. And her whole reason why she failed me was that I lacked life experience. I was living at home with my mom. I had a Mervin's credit card, was my only credit card at the time. And all I did was police explorers and sheriff's explorers. I didn't have enough life experience.
So she's looking for cops that have years of experience to transfer to that county. That's all she's accepting at that point? Like, who has life experience trying to get a job?
Getting in trouble and being out and doing more with craziness is better than
fresh and being able to train?
At a police station. I don't know. So we went on a hiring freeze after that, so I continued working the ambulance job. And in 1995, they started testing again. I retested. I sailed through the entire process. And when I went in for my oral psych, I got the very oral psych that I had appealed to. And I walked in, she goes, I know you. And I said, yeah, you do, ma'am. And she's like, you didn't get hired? And I said, no. And she goes, I submitted that letter. You should have been hired. And I said, it happened for a reason. I don't know. And she's like, what have you been doing? And I told her, and she's like, welcome to the sheriff's department. So I was like, oh my God. I left her office on cloud 9.
I bet.
And I started the academy. I want to say within 2 months is when our class started. April of 96 is when I started. April 10th of 96.
How old are you? You look young.
55.
Damn, good for...
Yeah. I feel old, trust me.
Damn, dude. Good for you. Yeah, I'm sure you beat up 25 years in law enforcement, but you said 55?
I'll be 56 this year, yeah.
I would have put you at 42, 40. I thought you were right there with me. Yeah, good for you.
I wish I was that young again.
Yeah, you're feeling it now.
My back and my eyes, and I never used to wear glasses, and here I am in glasses now. So
fun, getting old, huh?
Yeah.
Well, good for you on that. So okay, so you're going to the academy. You said at 93,
96,
96.
Yeah, April.
What was that like? Los Angeles, county, I guess, deputy school or sheriff school. What's that like?
I was honestly nervous,
Okay.
like anybody would be. I showed up on Black Monday, which is what they called it. We're all in our suits, and it's kind of like a basic training. It was high stress at that time. Getting screamed at and dropping and doing push-ups, and you can't do anything right, and you can't look any right way or wrong way, or you're just in trouble.
Yep.
And I was sore as hell after that first day. That next day, I was hurting bad, and it was right back to it. And so initially, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna suck." But I was in there with a couple people who I knew, and I ended up loving it. It was the craziest thing. Like when it was all done, it was 24 weeks of academy, and then we had 2 weeks of jail ops before we got into our assignment. And when we graduated, I actually missed it. I was like, I missed the camaraderie of it, all the hell we had been through, all the runs and the PTing and the scenarios and the terrible days of having 6 minutes to finish our meal and get through the shower and get in uniform and back in the classroom, and we're like trying to sneak bread while we're getting from point A to point B and going through the showers in the conga line, with all these other dudes' dicks wanging around and guys pissing in the shower when you're trying to get through it, and because we didn't have time. It was like it was the real deal. And then during the middle of my academy, back to the shit magnet part, at the time my ex-wife, she found a lump in her breast, which ended up being fine. Not my current wife, my ex-wife. So I had to get a day off for her surgery, and my DI was actually way cool about it, and so I was stressed, like I'm going to be in trouble. I know, but it's my wife. It's more important. I got to do this at the time. So, so she gets the lump removed. They think it's benign, and that next day, it was a Friday. The next day on Saturday is a Garth Brooks concert. You can already see where this is going. So we had tickets already. So I'm going to the Garth Brooks concert. We get to the concert, and we end up going through this back gate, and there's a bus there, and this guy stands outside, this cowboy dude. And I start talking to him, and of course I got to tell him I'm in the Sheriff's Academy, because at the time that's all you're thinking about. And he's like, "Hey, this is Garth's bus. You want to check it out?" So we actually got on Garth Brooks' tour bus and looking around. We come off the bus. My DI's standing there. He's working security at the concert.
No.
And I looked.
And you're supposed to be at the academy.
The day before, I took it off for surgery, right, for my wife. And I'm with my wife, thank God. So he's like looking at me like he wanted to kill me. And I'm like, "Sir, just so you know, this is my wife. This is her name, And she's like, "Hey, thank you, sir, for letting him be off. Everything looks like it's going to be okay. We already had these tickets. I just wanted to get it." And he's like, "Don't worry about it." He never gave me a hassle the rest of the academy for that.
Oh.
He never said a word about it.
Really?
So like 3 weeks after that, I'm going with a guy who was in the class that I should have been in 5 years prior when I got DQ'd.
Okay.
Good friend of mine. We're going to a barbecue, and we're going, getting ready to go by the 14 and 14 and the 5 interchange, but on the old road which paralleled the 14 freeway. And we come around a bend, and there's a head-on crash, and there's a dude ejected. And so we jump out, and my buddy starts doing CPR, and I'm doing first aid. I'm in the academy still, It's like these things aren't supposed to happen. You're not supposed to get involved in shit. You're supposed to be tunnel vision. Don't do shit. Don't look at shit. Be a good witness. Don't say nothing. You're not.
Don't touch
You're
anything.
not a cop. You're nothing. You know?
Yeah.
And so so I had to notify my academy again, like, "Hey, this happened on the weekend, and I got to write another memo, So those are things that happened during the academy. We had an escape that happened at our jail at Wayside up in Castaic that our entire academy class got activated for. We got to go search the hills for this bad guy that got away. We didn't find him. Somebody did later in a canyon.
Yeah.
But kind of cool, different stuff during my academy time. But I really, really missed my academy time when I graduated. So I ended up getting graduated and assigned to Wayside Max, which is a maximum security, old school jail, musty, mice running down the hallways type jail.
What is that
in
like?
the North County. It was an awesome jail. I loved it. I loved the personnel there. It was the shit of the shit. We had riots all the time. We had, you'd have 110 inmates in a dorm, and there's nothing separating you from those inmates but a cage that goes across. And you have this little metal desk on the other side of it when you're a dorm officer. And then, so that's where you start. You're a new guy. You're a dorm person. But you have to go in there every shift, and you're walking down the aisleway, and these guys are all just on bunks side by side. They're not individually housed. They're not locked down. They're just there. And we had it, in any dorm, 110. I'd say of 110 inmates, maybe 20 or 30 were in custody for murder.
And you're in there by yourself?
No, you'll get like one other guy. There'll be two dudes will go in there. One takes each aisle and that comes out, kind of a thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Doing count. So they know what time they put the wristband on. You do count the bodies, make sure the wristband is the right number for the bunk number. And then you do dorm searches and stuff like that. When you do those, then you get like 10. All your prowlers are coming in or whatever. But we had riots all the time. So you're launching gas. And you knew when you came into the shift, if all the gear was out, it's like, oh, shit. And you could smell the tear gas still. It's popping again. And so we had a facility-wide riot in 96. It was my first year there. Every dorm in the facility went off. I think except for the school dorm. And they didn't want to do that there because they had it made, those guys. All the active dorms were popping, and it was all black versus Hispanic. The whites stuck with the Hispanics, the Asians stuck with the blacks, and the ratios were like 3 or 4 to 1. So the blacks, a lot of times they got their butts kicked because there were so many Southsiders in the dorms.
So the Mexicans and the whites ganged up, huh?
The whites to survive.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, they'd pay taxes, they'd do all their stuff they're supposed to do, so the Hispanics would be like, you're good.
Yeah, because that is a predominantly Hispanic prison then, huh?
Yeah, county jail, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
So our population was about 1,900 inmates at the time for the whole facility.
Oh, shit, okay.
But they had weapons. You get stabbings and beat downs and, 3 or 4 guys stomping a dude out that violated their rules.
And it's just all open bunks in there. So is that why? Do you think that's a huge part of it? Because instead of being able to lock all these dudes down, you got just a giant cage full of piss and vinegar?
It's the craziest thing, though, because honestly, if you get it's like anything else. You get a good boss, you get a good supervisor, you get a good whatever. They can keep stuff under control. So you'll have a rep from the Mexicans that will make sure that their guys are locked down, that they're not going to do shit. They're going to follow the rules. They don't want their program to be jacked up. They don't want the phones off. They don't want visiting canceled. They don't want the TVs off. They want to make sure they still get their stack of LA Times in the morning. And they know that if they pop off, everything's gone for, at that time, up to 10 days.
Okay.
And they're cut off from the outside world, no visits, no TV, no phones, no nothing. And they didn't like that.
Which I'm sure for people listening, like 10 days isn't that much, but
it's a lot.
Man, waiting on, I'm not comparing anything to being in Iraq versus prison or jail. But when mail wouldn't show, and that's all you have to fixate on, and I'm just talking just this isolation, nobody to talk to, whatever it is, but then you're waiting on the letter from your wife or your kids or a package, and then it's delayed, or and you start building this frustration, I guess, in your head, and then you don't know how to express it. So there was so many times where we would just be so worked up over, like, we call them log trains, like, come and provide mail and supplies and stuff, and where they wouldn't show up, and guys would be like, what? So I can only imagine as a prisoner, or even just anybody in jail, whatever, there's so little hope inside of those places. So when you lose a magazine that you're used to reading every single day or watching a certain television, I hear some of these guys that done 20 years are like, oh, dude, like gardening and like these little soap opera shows, that's all they were provided. So they'd be so into that and they would lose it. These guys would just, they're almost willing to riot over losing like a soap opera.
Well, or football, like their games are all on or whatever. So what would happen is the shot caller for the Mexicans, the Sureños, would control their people. And if one of them would step out of line, they themselves would beat the living dog shit out of their guy. And you'd see the guy coming up with his bunk roll and his property at the gate, deputy, I need to get out of here. And so you'd take out the problem. And a lot of times, if it wasn't the person violating their rule, it was the blacks maybe coming to them saying, hey, we're going to kick this off if you don't take care of your boy. Or vice versa. The Hispanics would go to the blacks and say, you got a dude over here that's causing problems with our boys. We're going to kick it off. And so the blacks would beat down their guy and send him to the gate to get out. So a lot of times you had internal policing within the inmates. They didn't want us to be in there taking away their stuff. Because when we went in, if there's a riot, number one, we're blowing the place up. We're loading it up with tear gas. Everybody's going to be feeling pain. Some guys are getting hit with stuff, and it's all bad. Then on top of it, they all go into the bathroom or into the day rooms. They're all in nothing more than their boxer shorts. They're butt-ass naked. And we end up going through the dorm and cleaning the whole dorm out. So all the extras that they have, the extra blankets, the extra clothes, the extra milks, the extra whatever, their Pruno, their weapons, it's jail-made alcohol.
Oh, okay.
anything that they have, it's gone. It goes in the trash. So they lose all their stuff. No, personal picture, no, none of that stuff. But I'm talking about all the added stuff. It goes. And so it really ruins their program. Well, for a whole facility to kick off, that tells you a lot. Like, it was bad at the time. The leadership in their structure was bad. You get hotheads that are running the program that say, hey, I don't like the way BAM looked at me. And then you kick it off, and it's like, you just kicked off the whole dorm. Well, then the dorm next door hears you guys going off. And so they kick off, and then it starts a domino effect. Especially if there's already rumors that, hey, man, this guy BAM showed up. He thinks he's the shit. And then something kicks off. It's like, oh, he must have. We're all kicking off.
It's jail, prison, that whole environment is such a primal environment, I feel. I've never worked it, but hearing stories, it's Lord of the Flies almost, how one little thing can trigger a whole entire shift inside of a prison over one word, one look, a disrespectful gesture, anything like that. They're ready to go at any time.
And it's crazy, and that's kind of how I can get into it in a minute, but how I got sort of directed into gangs. I looked at it like you have all these Serenos that are all linked up, power base. They have the numbers. They're in control of all these dorms because they have the sheer numbers. Now on the streets, those same Serenos are killing each other because their different neighborhoods are warring with each other, but yet they come into jail and they're buddies. Same thing in the Blacks. You got Crips and Bloods that are killing each other for generations out in L.A., but they come into custody, and for sheer numbers, they've got to get together and be like, hey, we're going to put all that aside.
Just fascinating.
It shows how hypocritical the whole thing is. 100%. It really is. It's really, it's unfortunate because there are a lot of, it's hard to say this, but again, we can get into it later, but there are a lot of good people that get caught up in bad stuff, whether it's home life or whether it's a drug addiction from an injury or who knows, or just not a dad around and it's all they know, or I've dealt with all kinds of gangsters throughout my career, but I'm getting too far ahead. But so you have this stuff going on, there's so many different things that happen while we're in custody, but I'll try to pick off the top things I can think of. Yeah. I did do CPR on an inmate trying to save him. He overdosed on drugs. He ended up dying. But in August of 1997, I was at home, and I got a phone call from one of my buddies at work saying that one of our friends had been shot that we worked with. And so...
In the jail?
No, he was off duty.
Okay.
So we end up jumping in a car, haul ass to Santa Ana, and it was all over the news. Shane York, he was a friend of mine. Him and his fiance, who was another deputy that we worked with, stopped at her sister's hair salon in Buena Park, and 2 Crip gang members came in to rob the place. They searched him. They found his badge. They stuck a gun to the back of his head, and they blasted him. And so he was on life support. We got down to Western Medical Center in Santa Ana, and we spent almost 2 days there until they pulled the plug because he was brain dead. So he ended up passing away. And those Crips, when they left there, they did another robbery in Yorba Linda. They robbed a pizza place, and then they got up on the freeway, and the Fullerton PD picked them off, and they arrested them both, and they're in custody. So and then we went through the trial and stuff after that. But so when that happened, it hit me hard. Shane and I were friends. We'd eat our chow breaks together. His locker was near mine. We were always screwing around in the locker room, throwing shit at each other and joking. And we'd always tease him about Jen, his fiance. He couldn't do anything without her approval. We used to always tease him. And we loved her. I still talk to her today. So I went back to work, and my first shift back to work was about 5 or 6 days later, and some black Crip gangster mouths off, and the fight's on. And when it was all done, I told my senior, I'm like, you got to take me out of the back. I can't be with inmates. I'm going to kill one. I got to get out of here. So I ended up being put up at main control outside of security, and I needed to take a break from that whole thing. And while I took that little sabbatical that I asked for, because I was afraid of what I was going to do, I kind of decided to focus my entire career on gangs. I'm like, you know what? These 2 Crips killed my buddy. I'm going to get into the gang unit. And everything from that point on, I geared towards the gang unit.
No shit. Okay, so so once you left the jails, you said 5 years, and you were doing that?
I only worked the jails for 19 months total.
Got it.
Yeah. My buddy had been in the jail already
Sorry,
for
you
5
were
years.
paramedic 5 years prior to that.
Yeah.
EMT.
Yeah.
Then you went into the jails, and so now I'm tracking. So you got quite a bit of experience inside of there with the gangs immediately into your career.
Yeah, I started learning about tattoos and neighborhoods and rivalries and methods of making weapons and hooping stuff up their butts and coded languages that they use on kites, which are like little jail-made notes that they make really, really, really tiny. How they transport weapons around our own jail. Within Bibles, they'll cut out things, and they're walking to church with a Bible in their hand. You wouldn't even think twice, but if you were to open it up, just take the time, just a minute to check them. You'll find shanks in them, or in the binding of the Bible. Learned all kinds of stuff of how they thought, what type of drugs they used, what they sold, what heroin smelled like, as you start finding that stuff in custody. So I started learning a lot about street stuff, just taking the time to, and then I got taken to the jail gang unit within our custody facility.
Oh, okay.
So I was there for only 2.5 months, and I hated custody. Like I learned a lot. Invaluable. I wish
You're
everybody
talking
could do it.
intake, like when you guys are bringing people into custody. What's custody?
No, working in the jail.
Okay.
But it's just a slang for us to say we worked custody. It's just working in the jail.
Okay.
But yeah, we get fish lines that come in, which is like new inmates coming into our facility. They line them up on the wall, strip them down, bend over, crack their ass, cough, all that
How
stuff.
often are people? Do you guys ever find anything when you're doing these bend over and cough searches?
Sometimes you'd see a baggie, like sticking out of the butthole. They wouldn't be stupid enough to have a shank in their crack or anything like that in there. No. Sometimes you'll catch something in their mouth.
So when you see this little piece of plastic coming out of their butthole, you make them do it, or you pull it?
They could either do it, or we're going to stick them in a cell that's got a bucket, no water, and they're going to be in there until they get it out. Yeah. And it would be dope. It would be kites, because you'd get people that would turn themselves in on a probation or parole violation just so they could bring a load of dope or information in to disseminate it to the shot callers, whoever it was geared up for.
What?
Oh, yeah. You get people on flash incarcerations. They violate their probation intentionally. They hoop something up. They go in, dump it off. They get paid for it. And then they know they're only going to do 3 days, 5 days, 10 days, 20 days maybe max, and they're back out. And they get paid for that.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's really smart.
Some guys even hooped up cell phones, believe it or not. Yeah. So,
I've heard this on almost every correctional officer that we have spoken to, that how many phones get smuggled inside of people's butts and vaginas.
Yep. It's a disgusting world, but they'll do.
Are they at least wrapping them like in a glove,
Yeah,
or are they
they're all
just straight
latex.
up putting a Motorola up their ass?
Latex like crazy.
Okay.
Shanks in my book. You can open a page, but I got X-ray pictures of a shank up somebody's butt.
What goes through your mind when is it just throughout here anywhere, or is it in the back?
I can find it.
When you find somebody, like find an object up somebody's butt, what's the first thing that goes through your mind? Is it like kind of exciting at first, where you're like, oh, we got something, but then you're like, how do we get this out?
It's like you just got the winning lottery ticket.
Okay.
When you catch some weapons or drugs coming into your jail, and you stop it from happening, it is a feeling of, fuck yeah, we got this one. It doesn't make like it's going to end everything. You know that there's going to be more coming in, but
that looks like it's by his hip.
yeah, it's up in the abdominal cavity.
What's in the middle right there?
That's probably those pictures are from that. So it's that blue latex right there.
Oh, that's drugs then.
Yeah, drugs and kites or whatever was in that one. But it is a disgusting environment, but they will find ways to do stuff. No matter what you do, they'll find a way to do it. They'll find a way to make another weapon. You clean out an entire dorm. You've searched everywhere, everything, and they'll still find a way to find some screw somewhere or some broken piece of metal, or they'll go out to the yard and work on a piece of yard fence for a long time until they can finally get it off, get it in, and it's like an ice pick. So you constantly got to do searches and stay on top of stuff.
It's crazy to me to think of how innovative these prisoners are inside, but then when they get out to society, they can't function at all. But it's like, dude, you just ran an organized gang. You're able to figure out how to flush this note into the toilet so it goes downstairs, and then you got a string, and then they're pulling that through to pass notes, and they're able to connect with people on the outside. There's so much shit that these prisoners are able to come up with and build this system, but then they get into the real world and they just fall apart. It's like, bro, if you can do that on the inside, you should be running a massive company. If you can put that, how you focus on one little thing to be able to figure out, and then I've seen where they flick these papers off those tiers, and then they whip
They fish it, yeah. They fish it down. Yeah.
the fact that they figure this shit out.
They're not stupid.
No,
They're very smart. They're very innovative.
that's the word I was looking for. They're so innovative on the inside. How can you not take the way that your mind is able to think and process and lay something out inside of a prison cell, and you can't do that on the outside? That's where it's like,
I think
culture.
They get institutionalized. I think
For sure.
The streets are dangerous. Jail's dangerous, but the streets are dangerous. And when you're in the streets, there's only one way for them to make money. They're slinging dope, or they're doing licks. They're robbing people, or doing whatever they're doing, stealing cars and catalytic converters and whatever they're doing. You get into custody, everything's there for you. You're getting your meals. You got your bedding. You got your and you're with the homies, and you're chilling, and you got a program, and you got TV. You don't have to pay anything. You're living life. You go back out to the street after you have all this structure, and now you got no structure again. Now you're back out in the real world, and it's a lot of pressure. And then there's dope in custody. There's a lot of drugs in custody. But
With the jails being run by the sheriffs, correct? Is that all mainly inmates bringing the drugs and contraband in? Because in the prisons, and especially here in Idaho, I'm only going to speak on Idaho because I have some more guests lined up that are going to blow the freaking roof off of these things. But they talk about, and they see these inmates are talking about how corrupt the COs are. Just the COs are the worst ones bringing all this in. Was that happening on the sheriff side of things? Are cops getting compromised too?
Yep,
Really?
I work some of that stuff. Yep.
Is it as common as a normal CO, like a normal correctional officer versus I just feel like a sheriff, you have so much more to lose because the end goal is to get out of the jail and then to get onto the streets. I would say for probably most cops, they don't want to spend a career in jail. They can fold that quick, and that
you'd be surprised.
Is it
there's
money?
there's a lot of people that go work the jail that don't leave. They're afraid to go to the streets. They get in there and they get comfortable. There's a lot of overtime to be made. They're making a ton of money. That's 10 minutes from home. They got their schedule set, and they get afraid to leave. They don't have court all the time. They're not having to wear the body cam. I don't know if they're doing it in custody now with body cams. They might, but all of our jails are all on camera anyway. But I haven't been in a jail for a few years to know if they've got body cams. I'm not sure right now. But their system is kind of set, and the issue that I've seen is that when you lower hiring standards, you're going to get what you get. And if you're willing to overlook, like before, it was like even weed, you're out, you're done. You're not going to get hired. You're going to be DQ'd. Now it's almost like if you tried meth once, it's going to be okay. That type of stuff. When you start recruiting out of the ghetto and you're willing to overlook stuff and you see all these red flags in the background. I had a guy call me up and he's like, hey, I got to ask you a question. I got a guy I'm doing backgrounds on. I need your expert opinion. I'm like, what's up? He said, the guy's whole back in this calligraphy writing is brown pride. He goes, and I don't know what is that a gang tattoo? I'm like, dude, and everything that I've seen, brown pride, Serenios, brown pride, when people start claiming brown pride, just like if it was white pride, we'd be looking at it like, oh, hell no. You need to start looking at the families, the friends, the cousins, the uncles, the history.
Who's he rolling with?
Yeah, and so like we had one chick, I won't say her name, she was a custody assistant, so she wasn't a deputy, but she was like a civilian employee. You're still in uniform, get paid less, you don't have police powers. But we all knew about her. We all knew everything about her. And there was times where she'd work a dorm, and then when the next shift would come on, the book's gone. The dorm book with all the inmates' names and their booking numbers and their charges would be gone. And they'd call her, hey, we're missing, oh, I got it in my car. So we would have to have somebody get the book from her. Another time, her husband came in on the fish line. He got booked. He was a Crip. And so you start seeing these, and we found out she had a nickname. You start seeing these things, and it's from hiring standards. And what the inmates do is...
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. This chick's working in the jails, and she's with a Crip.
She was a Crip, too, we found out. Yeah. But the thing is, but if you want to go back to like normal, quote-unquote, people, what they do is inmates have nothing but time on their hands, especially the very savvy ones, the ones that you see as the leaders, the ones that have charisma about them. They're very respectful. They're very manipulative. They learn how to manipulate staff. And they may start with, hey, deputy, can I get an extra soap? Can I get an extra blanket? Hey, can you do me a favor? Can I get another couple minutes on a phone? And they start doing this, and they're building the relate. Hey, if you need anything, deputy, I'll come out and mop for you. Hey, deputy, if you need any. Hey, deputy, I heard that this black dude over here's got, and they start building this relationship over time. And somehow, some way, they're getting these youngsters to be like, hey, can you do me a favor and meet my girl on the outside? And then it starts from there. Once an inmate gets a deputy or a CA or anybody, a nurse, to cross the line once, they own that person.
For sure.
Because they can never say no again. Because if they ever try to say no, that inmate will say, all right, I'm going to snitch you off. You're done. And so they'll keep doing it, and it progressively gets worse to where they start bringing the load of dope in and they get caught. But by then we're already on them. Or our internal criminals were awesome. Our major crimes, they were awesome.
Okay, so with that, should prisons, jails have an amnesty period for COs? That if, hey, I screwed up and I gave this guy an extra bar of soap. Okay, cool. Now we know. And then you could bring it forward, so now you're not owned, because it's once you cross that line, like you said, and that's how they get all the COs. Hey, can I get? And then the women side of things with male COs, that's a fascinating world. And so once you cross that line, I don't know, if you just sit as a CO, like, damn, dude, I screwed up. What do I do? Can I bring it up to my chain of command really quick? So then, hey, he's gonna rat me out for this, but this was it. Then okay, cool, it's annotated or it's noted in your file, and don't cross any more lines. Because if I don't know, I guess I don't. Do we give them an amnesty period? Would that help? Do you think you get 3 strikes or something? That way you don't get scared. Then you go on the knee-jerk reaction or trying to cover up, and then they're like, okay, I'll get you whatever you want, just be quiet. And then obviously now you're logging into these inmates' emails. You're meeting their wife out in town. You're bringing shit in.
I think it's a character flaw, because honestly, personally for me, I don't see something wrong with giving somebody if they want an extra blanket or if they want an extra soap or if they want an extra. It's the county's crap anyway, ain't mine.
Sure.
The problem is where you start crossing the line of doing something that's on the outside, bringing it in, something that you personally pay for, something they personally pay for.
Oh,
some
yeah,
type of thing.
absolutely.
As far as handing them extra soap, giving them extra time or whatever, I think it's smart to try to build relations. It's smart to know that you're working the inmate's not working you. And if there's nothing wrong with being respectful towards inmates, and if they want to look, if it's not going to be any skin off your back, who gives a shit? Give them an extra whatever.
I mean, I'm with you, and also at the same time, you can't be this hard piece of shit.
No, you're not going to get anywhere. They're going to hate you.
Dude's talking to his wife or his child that he hasn't seen in years, and then you cut him off because he just asked for what's an extra minute or two, or is that a big deal inside of these?
It shouldn't be, for me personally, and as a supervisor. Like I think we're better served to give respect.
Absolutely.
And if we give it, we're going to get it back.
Especially
and
in that environment.
Yeah, and it's not to say they still wouldn't stick a knife in your throat.
Absolutely.
But there are a lot of decent dudes that are, even if they're gangsters, they're still, if you give them respect, they're going to be cool with you. And if you give them a little extra, does it really matter to you? Now, when it starts being a problem is if you're getting worked and you're not recognizing you're being worked. And that's that character thing. Like, I don't know how you stop that.
Yep.
If you do a blanket across the board, nobody gets anything extra or whatever, and that's policy, and somebody starts violating policy, then I guess, but then everybody's going to hate whoever made that policy, and then everybody's going to be pissed off. You know, the inmates are pissed off, the staff's pissed off, brass is pissed off. I think it's that fine line, but they're going to exploit people they see as weak. They will every single time. And
That's
whether it's like especially females, if you get a good-looking Hispanic cholo, you got a female deputy or CA, she's cute, he's good-looking, he's got the charisma, he's the bad boy image, he may be in there for something minor, and he starts working her, and she's got problems at home, or maybe caught her man cheating on her on the outside, and her mind's, and they will exploit that over time. It doesn't happen overnight. They'll just start working it and working it and working it. And we had a female deputy that was banging an inmate. Yeah, got pregnant by him.
This happens so much.
Yeah.
How often do we hear this?
Yeah,
it happens so much.
The biggest thing we see or have seen is dope. It's dope coming in, loads of dope.
How much dope have you found on somebody?
Well, something out on the street that may be worth, say, $1,000, just as a round number, maybe worth 10,000 inside.
Just because of the supply and demand?
Yep. And I didn't have to deal with fentanyl, because when I was leaving, fentanyl was becoming a thing.
Yeah.
So to me, that's scary as shit. I mean, we wouldn't even put gloves on. We were just like jamming people all the time and reaching in pockets. And You know, and in the streets too. So fentanyl's scary in custody, especially. There's a lot of overdoses that are happening. So Narcan's a thing now and stuff like that. But dope coming in, I mean, if you get like one of those pictures I showed you, a tube, you may get like 4 or 5 buds of marijuana and maybe a couple grams, 3 grams of heroin. Same thing with meth. You maybe even get a syringe that's like this big, a little tiny syringe. They'll put it all in that thing and wrap it 1,000,000 times. So but it's worth a ton of money coming in for not what it's worth on the street. Way different value system. But you'll get people that they're bringing them in. Like we had there was a joke at one of our jails. It was the burrito deputy. He had a bunch of dope in a burrito. He brought a burrito into work, like from the outside, like he was eating food, but it was loaded with dope. So,
there's no way.
Yeah.
This dude thought he was going to.
They do. They get cocky. They think they're the shit. They're the man now. They're the cops. Nobody's going to fuck with them. And shame on them. Because people like me, I don't give a shit. You don't deserve to wear my badge.
Oh, hell
you know,
no.
There's one thing about, you know, you don't want to work with snitch deputies that are just, you know, you get into a fight where you tell somebody shut the fuck up, and you get somebody, oh, I don't like the way he that's a piece of shit deputy.
For sure.
They got no business. Like, get the fuck, I don't want to work around that person. But if you get somebody bringing dope in or snitching off a search warrant or any of that stuff, that's King's X, man. They don't deserve to wear my badge. I don't give a shit about that person at all.
Did you catch any cops giving heads up on search warrants and stuff inside the prison?
We've had incidents of that, yeah. Yep.
Damn, they're in deep at that point,
Yep.
huh?
Yep.
Okay. What's it like? What's it like discovering that a cop has turned inside the jail that's helping the inmates?
It hurts all of us.
For sure.
It doesn't just even hurt that jail or that agency.
It's a community
It
as a
hurts
whole.
everybody, because then everybody starts looking at, well, they'll fucking see all the cops are corrupt. They're all pieces of shit. And then everybody has their own story about how they were wronged by a cop and how all cops inherit that one person stuff. It's just unfortunate. It's just like sexual assault. You get a deputy or whoever, he's doing traffic stops and he's diddling girls on stops, you know, feeling them up or getting them out of the car and searching them because they got a warrant or whatever and molesting them basically, you know, and kicks them loose. We've had those too. And then they come in, they file a report, and then all of a sudden you get 2 or 3 or 4 girls all saying, I was stopped by that same deputy. We've had those guys. We had them at my jail when I was working there as a sergeant. You know, we had them on A row, or not A row, they were on F row. And 2 or 3 dudes on that row in these little dungeon of cells at Men's Central Jail were cops for diddling women on traffic stops. So it's
For
basically,
what?
here's the issue. There's pieces of shit in every profession, in the military and nursing and fire departments and teachers.
Judges, teachers, everything.
So it's just when you're in certain professions, you're more exposed to when it happens. Now it's like, well, they're all like that, you know? And it's like, no, not every cop is anywhere near that. But when it happens, it's a stain, a huge stain.
For sure.
And when you have, the problem is you have immense power as a cop. You can take a life. You know, you can pull over anybody you want. You can stop anybody. You can, for the cop that's got that power trip, you can do anything you want, right? That's what they think. You want to stop that hot chick, find out her name and where she's going or whatever, go stop her. That's what they think. They forget about law and ethics and morals and integrity, and all those things go out the window because they're drunk on power. And you get all these piece of shit cops that are out there that get drunk on power. Look what causes it. Screws it up for everybody. And I'm not talking about George Floyd, and I'm not talking about some of these other incidents that have happened in shootings, and because every one of those incidents is different, and you can't paint any shooting as with a broad brush as it's all the same. They're all different. But what's not different is when these cops cross the line, they're bringing dope in, they're molesting women on traffic stops, they're stealing on a traffic stop. We've had it all in our agency. We've had it all. So, but it's not unique to us. It's nationwide.
For sure.
And I would say worldwide, really, if you think about it.
That's got to be such just the holy shit moment when you, especially when you know or you see evidence of a cop or catch him red-handed and there's no denying it. And damn that. And then you get to investigate that. Then when you investigate, I'm sure that opens up so many different doors into who these people are and what they're into. And
it does. I mean, technically for us, when you find a problem, you're supposed to push it off to internal criminals, and they do it. You don't do it. They do it. They're the ones. But there's been times where that crosses over into your investigations, and it can cause a problem with your case because now they've got theirs and they don't want you touching your case anymore. It's like, well, wait a second. I gave you this information. We still got to handle this over here. We also have we got the informant that's in with this, so we need, and then you get power trips within departments. Like, this is our baby. This is our baby. This is our baby, So it's not just you're fighting the dirtbags, but you're sometimes fighting within the agency too on some of these cases.
Oh, sure, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So after the jails, where did you go after that?
So during back to the shit magnet part, during that custody time, Shane got killed. And I went through the trial and all that stuff afterwards. And then my buddy Mike, who I write about in the book, we were training together in that first academy class. We went to high school together. We worked the jail together. He went to patrol, and he worked the Linwood area. And so I started riding along with him in Linwood on my own time in uniform. They wouldn't pay us as deputy. I'd still go down there full uniform, all my stuff, police powers, but on my own time, on my days off or my shifts off. And
just to learn or what?
Stay fresh.
Okay.
I didn't want to lose it. And so we got in a pursuit one night in Linwood, and it terminated outside of a school. I had no fucking clue where we were. We were taking left turns, right turns. There's no street signs on any of the streets in Linwood. The streets are like narrow enough for a trash can, but somehow you fit through with a patrol car and another car you're chasing. And I had no idea where we were. And we terminated a school. We both bail out to go on foot pursuit. And the suspects, they jump out, but then they jump back in and flip the car around and take us like head on down Mike's side of the car. And he had kind of pulled off to the right. So Mike jumped out, I jumped out. And I'm on trigger on target. He's on trigger on target, but they're going down his side of the car. I would have had to shoot across the hood. So I didn't fire, but Mike fired. He started firing into the car. And he flattened himself up against the car. They zinged past him and they took off. But we had debris in the streets. We got a shooting scene now. And
so could you technically chase those guys, or do you have to lock that spot down?
We could have technically, I guess, but it's so narrow. We would have had to
Austin
try to do
Powers.
a 12-point turn and drive on the debris. And there was a headlight that was left in the street from the suspect car. And we were already on the radio, so everybody was coming to us. So it was like, get the radio traffic out, have all your teammates in the helicopter, and everybody look for him. So
you're involved in a shooting before you're even
I didn't shoot though.
But your partner shot, so it's.
I didn't even hear the rounds. Like right on top of it, and you just to get narrow tunnel vision.
Oh, for sure.
I smelled the gun smoke. I could still remember that. Like you could smell the gunpowder.
And you're not even being paid for this.
No. So there was other incidents that happened, but that was one of the main ones. So, so I come back to the jail. I'm working the jail again, and people are like, dude, you're a fucking shit magnet. Like you go on a ride along a custody deputy, you get involved in a shoot. I'm like, well, I didn't shoot. It doesn't matter, dude. It's like, well. But we're not surprised it was you, that kind of bullshit. So that continued. So while I'm working the gang unit, we take over the Blue Line contract, which was light rail system, downtown South LA. It went from downtown LA all the way to Long Beach and from Norwalk over to Manhattan Beach or El Segundo. And then all the buses that were in that area. And so we took the contract. And we also took Compton PD. So I start working.
So you're in all the fun areas.
Yeah. So I put in the transfer for it. I'm like, I want to get the fuck out of the jail. I got the gang unit job, but it's custody. I want to go to patrol. I don't want to be locked down in jail. It was a hard thing to do, getting to wear jeans to work, raid jacket, come in when I want, leave when I want, that type of stuff. But it wasn't my job. I wanted to go out to patrol. And you can't go to a good job if you're not patrol trained. You can't. You're sentenced to custody. You got to get out and get your patrol training done. So I'm like, screw it, I'll just go. So I go to patrol school, and I'm set to go to Lenox, which is very well-respected station. I had been doing ride-alongs there while I was in custody. I had a buddy from Lost Hill, from Malibu, that went to Lenox. So I start riding the Lawndale area and Linwood while I'm in custody. Now I'm going to patrol, and I'm told I'm going to Lenox Station, which has Lawndale too, but... So I geared it up. I had all my RD maps, Thomas Guide maps. So I learned the area. I knew all the gangs in the area from working gang stuff. And I was fired up. I'm like, fuck yeah, Second week of patrol school, lieutenant calls 3 of us in. I think it was 3 of us, 5 of us, something like that. He's like, hey, I need you guys to make some changes for me. I'm like, oh, fuck. And so I got moved to Santa Clarita Station. Santa Clarita was one of the slowest do-nothing station reputations in the entire county.
Okay. Where a new cop does not want to be.
And I got moved there because of where I lived in Simi Valley. They were doing geographical moves, and Lenox was one of the farther stations for me, fast station, ghetto area, most respect. I'm fired up. I'm doing my ride-alongs down there. And the lieutenant says, I need everybody to I'm moving this guy to San Dimas, and I'm moving this guy. And I'm like, Lieutenant, please, and I'm brand new. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
I'm like, sir, please. Like, I've been geared up. I got friends there. Like, I'm sorry, man. I need you to do me a favor. Well, I'm a brand new dude on the department.
Can't say shit.
What am I going to do? That guy's going to be around for the rest of my career. I'm going to fuck myself by throwing a fit. Who am I? I'm nobody. So I'm like, all right, sir. I go, please, if something changes, though, just move me back, and I'm good. And he's like, all right, but I didn't. So I went to one of the slowest stations that I could go to train. And I thank God every day that I had the experience that I had, because I've had to pay for it my whole career. Like people, oh, that dude's Santa Clarita trained. You always wanted to be Lennox trained or Century trained or East LA trained, or you did not want to be Santa Clarita Jacket.
Okay, they're not taking it serious or what?
Not only that, but then when I'm done at Santa Clarita, I'm going to the Blue Line. So I'm not even going to Lennox or Century. I'm going to the train police, And that's to get out of jail sooner, because all my friends were in jail 6 years, 7 years waiting to go to those stations. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not waiting 6 years. So I took the early out because of the contract.
Yep.
But so I go to Santa Clarita, very first shift out of the gate. First day, first shift, first hour, code 3 to a plane crash. A Cessna plane hit some power lines, came on the houses. 2 houses are on fire. There's diapers laying in the wreckage. We're thinking there's a kid. My handle, because I'm the new boot. First call, first shift, is a plane crash. Oh my God. And so, same shit. People are like, you're a fucking shit man, you're still, that type of stuff. And it ended up being Depends diapers. It was 2 people on the plane, older, elderly, whatever you want to call them. It was Depends. It wasn't a kid, thank God. But so my TO that day, he's like, boot, go write your report. I'll handle this over here. Go do it. Get it knocked out. I had it knocked out in a half hour. I walk in. I hand him my report. He reads it. It's dead silent, flipping through it. Hands it back to me and says, we're going to get along just fine. Not a single correction on that report. That was my first paper that I wrote. And so I had a good time there. There was great people that worked there.
Yeah. Just not at your pace.
A couple people from Malibu that I knew that were deputies that knew me as an explorer. Now I'm a deputy with them. They treated me great. One of them was Jake Karigian, who I brought up earlier at Malibu, who's a deputy I used to ride with on the beach team. I worked the beach team with those guys down there, walking shorts on the beaches. And I was on the front page of LA Times, the quad, Malibu.
Okay. All right. So you're a cop on the beach in Malibu.
But that was when I was a cadet.
Are you married at this point? Oh, when you were a cadet.
Yeah,
okay.
I was married at that point.
Damn, that sucked.
But now at Santa Clarita, I'm working around all these guys that were from down there, so they all know me. And I start getting stuff at Santa Clarita. I'm stopping gangsters with guns. I'm getting, burglary in progress suspects. Guys drive out a parking lot at, 2:30 in the morning. We're chasing them. They're tossing stuff out, and they just burgled like 8 cars. And people are like, how the fuck are you finding this shit? Because I'm looking for it. And so I started getting a decent reputation at Santa Clarita. So the ops lieutenant calls me in. He's like, hey, we want to keep you. Are you okay if we keep you here? And I'm like, oh, sorry, I'm having a blast. Now I'm in my own car. I got signed off training early. And I'm like, sir, whatever you want. I'm having a blast. And he's like, if I can keep you from going to TSB, do you want to stay? I'm like, sure. He kept me a month. They needed the numbers. It's a chess game for item numbers. So they still took me to the Blue Line. So I go down to the Blue Line. Yeah, I had to leave the station. I go down there. And chronologically, I don't remember how long it was into it. One of my first shifts down there, we caught some burglary suspects. A guy was breaking into a car. My buddy and I were driving by. A guy I went to the academy with was also assigned to the station. We ended up chasing him on foot. We were nowhere near our area we're supposed to be in. We were by the Staples Center.
Okay.
In LAPD's area. Okay. We're sheriffs. But we had gone to eat, and we were driving back and saw this guy burging a car, so we bail out and chase him, and it was a clusterfuck. But so, and then probably, I want to, because I was only in that subway for like 2.5 months.
What's that? Okay, hold on a second. What's it like working the subways and the bus stations? Because I feel that's a hub for, I don't want to use the right words here.
Chaos.
Yeah.
It smells like piss. It looks like shit. And it's disgusting. That's what it was like back then. You get there and you smell the odor of piss as soon as you get out of your patrol car. And you go down to the platform. You had all kinds of good people, business people going to and from, trying to avoid LA traffic, mixed in with straight shitbaggery just nonsense. Gangsters, homelessness, just so you had just this wide gamut,
melting pot
crap,
of just everything.
So one shift, my buddy leaves, and then I get a guy for the night. He's like assigned for my partner for the one night. Piece of shit. Nobody liked him. Everybody looked at him like he's a snitch. Don't do anything in front of him. Don't talk to anybody. Don't search anybody. Don't arrest anybody. Just lay low. So him and I go eat. Like maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours after we eat, I am deathly ill. Deathly, like bad. Like my gun belt's off, and I'm puking, and I'm just like, somebody fuck with my food, clearly. So I told him, I'm like, dude, you got to take me back to the station. I can't do this. I'm a danger to myself out here. I can't do it. So get in patrol car, call the station. He does. Watch commander says, yeah, come back in. So they know we're gone. And I get a hold of my ex-wife, and I'm like, hey, and she's pregnant at the time. I said, hey, do me a favor, get a hold of Mark. It was my really good friend at the time. And have him come down here with you, but I can't drive. Like it was like everything was spinning, and it was, I don't know what got me bad, whatever they did to my food. And so she's like, okay. So she got a hold of my friend Mark Murphy, and they come down, they're on their way. So by the time we pull into the parking lot, I'm telling you the story for a reason. By the time we pull into the parking lot, we're on Imperial Highway in Willowbrook, across the street from the PJ Watts area, PJ Watts Crips. It's the Imperial Courts housing project. Okay. And so that's the projects. There's like a little no-tell motel and some apartments. Our station's right across the street, and chain link fencing. And so there's no wall or anything like that. Yeah. And when we pull into the parking lot, we see deputies behind doors, and we see one guy running along the wall. We're like, what the fuck? So I open the door, and I'm puking in the parking lot as we're pulling in, and rounds are being fired. AK rounds. You know what a 7.62 sounds like. You've been in war. Like, it is no joke. And I heard every one of those rounds. And so we get out, and I'm like on the ground, and these rounds, you can hear and they're hitting the wall, the sound wall, because the freeway above us. We back up to the freeway. And there's a guy across the street, but I can't see him to tell you if he's black. I assume he's black. It's a black neighborhood. But black, Hispanic, white, I don't know. But he was in front of the motel next to the projects, firing this AK, SKS, whatever, at us. And I'm putting out radio. I'm sick as a fucking dog, dying, putting out radio traffic. We're taking rounds. And same time, here comes my wife pulling into the parking lot, my buddy. And so this dude that I'm working with that night, it's a piece of shit dude. Everybody said, he's like, go, get in, get him out of here. So I jump into the back seat of my wife's car, get the fuck out of here. We turn out of the parking lot, right up onto the freeway and out.
This guy's shooting at
I'm in uniform still. And
so you're dying. This dude's shooting at the police station as your wife's picking you up, and you just dip.
So the whole world's rolling to this thing.
Yeah.
LAPD, every station from LA sheriffs, the helicopters, they never caught the fucker.
No.
None of us got hit. None of us got hurt. Things got hit, but it was a scary fucking thing. Like, for many reasons, I thought I was dying, number one, because I was so sick. And then to find out on top of it that the shootings happened when we were pulling in, and then my ex-wife pulling, and she's pregnant with my daughter at the time.
Oh my God.
And so it just went with how my career was going to go. Now, at that point, when that incident happened, I had 4 years on the department, maybe. Yeah, 4 years.
So in 4 years, you've been involved in a couple of shootings in and around them already as a cop.
I hadn't dropped the hammer on anybody, but yeah. But yeah.
I feel, is that common for LA cops?
I guess it's how hard you work, where you work, your luck.
Okay.
I always joked, buddy of mine who passed away, the two of us always said we had a low jack in our head. Like, we just knew, like, where to drive or to get in the middle of the fucking shit, And Steve got killed. He's in the book, too. I can talk about him later. But him and I were like two peas in a pod. And I think you have so many viewers. There's so many. That's the other thing I want to make clear. Like, I've watched your show, and you have so many different people from Chicago and from LA and from everywhere, from New York, and everybody's got their stories. We're all shit magnets. We've all got trauma. We've all been shot or shot somebody or whatever. We've lost friends in the line of duty. You got your military experience, lost friends overseas. So by no means when I talk about this stuff, am I saying that I'm any better or have more
absolutely.
than. I just want to make that clear for anybody watching. Like, I'm nobody. Like, I see something, I feel like I'm not even worthy to be on this show. When I see some of your stories, like, these guys are freaking badasses.
Same as you, man. Everybody sitting in that chair has all got a story.
They're badasses.
But they are. But all cops. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I talked to some law enforcement officers like, man, I went 30 years and never even drew a weapon. And then you talk to some rookie out of Compton and like, I've had 3 shootings last week. So it's really interesting to see different demographics of law enforcement. And that's why there's such a divide in the law enforcement community, because you'll get guys that'll go through a whole career in Fargo, North Dakota, Dakota, or wherever they're from, and they have a great department, great chief, best experience of their life. And then you have the guy in the town next door that's dealing with a crooked lieutenant, then the whole corruption. And so it's so fascinating, the law enforcement world, of how it's so divided on so many little micro levels of where they were, who was running what position, the corruption, the backstab. There's just so many different layers that peel apart inside of the law enforcement world. It's nobody will ever have the same. It's just like military. I feel I had a pretty shit in military experience, leadership, just staff wise. And I talked to other guys who are like, dude, it was the greatest time I've ever had in my life. And for me, I'm like, dude, fuck the military. Like, I was over it, hated it, couldn't get out fast enough. And then guys that work the same job, and like, dude, I'm doing 20 years of this. And so, yeah, it's very interesting to hear. That's why I love talking to law enforcement, because you get a guy in California that's working in Compton versus,
Boise.
Yeah, perfect example. I talk to a lot of cops that are moving here from California, and what they talk about, how it's just so different, how a lot of the laws, a lot of the rules that make sense there don't make sense here, or things that make sense here wouldn't make sense there. And so how things are just little tweaks, just different micro, little ecosystems inside these law enforcement departments, depending on where they're at and the functionality of the crimes, what's going on with everything. It's an interesting thing.
I think that, kind of, I glossed it over, but like my childhood growing up, the loss early in my life, growing up without a dad, struggling. We were rolling pennies to get food sometimes. Like, we would look around our house in old boxes and shit, trying to find pennies to roll them so we could go get food. And that's how I grew up, And so, when I got in the department, I came from a good place mentally. Like, I hadn't been spoon-fed, like that I had everything. I worked, I struggled. I saw both sides of it. I felt like I was very reasonable. But like in law enforcement, you're talking about those microcosms. My career, and we haven't even scratched the surface on it really, but it's defined by where you train. Probably like you with the military. What unit you worked, where were you deployed? Law enforcement's the same thing. And if you don't go to a unit or a deployment that is respected, like a Lennox or a Sentry or an East LA or something like that, you go to a Santa Clarita, that's a strike against you. Doesn't matter what you do in your career.
Okay, that makes sense.
You come from the Santa Clarita now. You got that jacket. Yeah. Now, you didn't go to Sentry or Lennox or East LA to work your patrol assignment. You went to TSB. That's strike 2. So for the rest of your career, you're a Santa Clarita guy that went to TSB. And they don't want to look at what you've done while you were at those assignments, or where you went to, or how you developed through your career. They still hang it on where you train. We got tattoos for stations and stuff that people train at, and that whole gang tattoo is a whole nother stupid ass thing. There are no deputy gangs in LA County, I'm sorry, but you'll see that in the news. And I could talk about that at some point if you want to, but so here I am getting involved in all this chaos early in my career, but I'm not in an assignment yet that anybody respects. I'm at assignments where people are like, who fucking goes to that? Even though you're in the ghetto. I'm in Willowbrook getting shot at, but I'm still just a TSB deputy at that time.
Interesting.
So that's the pecking order.
That's a great way to put it. I've never had anybody explain that, because you hear some units, you're like, oh, from 2.8 or 3.5 or 2.4. At those units, they've earned their stripes to hang on that banner. And so I didn't know that it was the same, at least in California cops, where. So you talk to a cop. I guess that's probably like a military. Like, what's your MOS? So that's the first question you ask guys. What would you do? What's your MOS? And then just off that answer alone, you go boop boop. Yep. There's 2 categories. There's 2 shelves to put a dude on. And I know I'll probably get hate for that, but don't worry, internet. I was a pogue too. I'm not a grunt. Not a 0311. Never claimed to be. But you talk to guys. You're like, well, what'd you do? I was an 03. Who were you with? I was 2.4. Oh, okay. What years? And so you can immediately put guys where they were, because it shows you puts a It's a word I'm looking for. Almost just
are you a door
stamp
kicker?
of approval. Like, oh, okay, cool. This guy's. I know what I should be listening for. What he's been through. I'll know areas, battles, whatever. So
Yeah. Are you an A player or a C player?
Yeah,
that's what they're immediately judging.
I didn't know
by.
it was like that in the law enforcement world.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So I work in that assignment. Not too long after that, I was working a day shift. There a lot of shit happened there. There's a lot of stuff in the book too, but a lot of shit happened there. I was getting in pursuits and fights and chaos there.
Do you remember your first pursuit by yourself? Okay, let me ask you: what's the wildest pursuit you've ever been in?
Oh God, I honestly don't know. There's so many.
That many?
Yeah, yeah. I had one stretch of a 2-week period. We were in 7 pursuits in 2 weeks. Yeah. I've been in pursuits. We were chasing some burglary suspects down the 14 freeway from Palmdale down to, it ended in Sylmar.
Okay.
Doing 123 in my Crown Vic, coming down the 14 freeway around a bend, and I could feel the car start to do the floating thing. And I looked down and I went, oh, fuck. I was so tunnel vision on the suspects. I could have died. It would have been game over. Blow a tire, swerve, you're done. And I let off the gas, and it kind of was like, holy fuck, like.
You get caught that moment real quick.
Yeah, I mean, we've been through so many bad ones. I mean, so many different crazy. My last shift, well, I can say this because it's chapter 1 of my book.
Okay.
And we're jumping way ahead. But my daughter, who was in my
bro, we go anywhere with it.
My daughter, who was in my ex-wife's belly at that incident that I was telling you about, was 20 years old, and she was on a ride along with me during my last shift, and. Palmdale deputies go to stop a car up in Palmdale. The guys start shooting. Well, no, I take it back. They run initially, and the pursuit gets canceled by the watch commander. Too crazy. They crash through a fence at the Plant 42, which is like a military place where the stealths are, Palmdale Airport. And watch commander cancels the pursuit, but the bird's up above following it. Well, the guys start shooting at the bird. As soon as they did, King's X, pursuit's back on. So it starts coming down the 14 freeway. They're asking for a unit with a shield. I carry a shield. I'm a field sergeant. Got my daughter on a ride along. So I end up in the pursuit. And so I actually posted a video of the termination of it because the news was watching overhead. But they fired like 40 rounds at deputies. And at the termination of the pursuit, at the 5-2-10, because they're 2 flat tires, sparks going everywhere, the driver gets out, fires one more round at deputies, and they all light him up. 2 suspects in the car. They don't hit the passenger. The suspect driver runs down the side of the freeway across the lanes of southbound 5 freeway as I'm pulling up. My daughter's like trying to take quick video from her cell phone, which I didn't know. So I got the clips now that she gave me. We go over the center divider into northbound traffic, and he's trying to carjack cars. Cars are swerving around everybody. They bump a deputy, knock the deputy down, but didn't hit the deputy, thank God. Hurt his back, but he was okay. Stayed in the fight. But ends up in a use of force, get the guy hobbled up, lift him back over the freeway, center divider, put him in a patrol car, and everybody's amped up. Fuck this motherfucker, fuck this, fuck that. And I'm like, looking in the back of the car, my flashlight, I'm the field sergeant, it's on me. And I see blood, like, get him out of the fucking car. Everybody's like, no, Sarge. I'm like, get him out of the fucking car now. Nah, Sarge, I go, get him out, and I open the door, get him out of the car. He's hit twice. He's got 2 gunshot wounds to his leg from an AR-15 from the deputies shooting at him.
Which is the size of a 22, so those are little pinholes.
So he's got upper leg, lower leg.
Is he swollen up by this point?
Yeah, he was actually turning a shade of gray. Not dying, but like
But it wasn't
shock was hitting
femoral or
him.
anything.
No, I mean he had
enough.
Yeah, he had a pocket full of meth, and he's high as a kite.
Okay.
But that was my last shift.
As your daughter's with you.
My daughter's on a ride along. My wife called me. She's like, "What are you doing down there?" She had me on Life 360. I'm like, "We're down here on this pursuit." She turned on the TV. She's like, "What the fuck? You got me?" I said, "I'm done." Because we were going back and forth. I had my house here, and we were done. But go on. So let's go. I'm going to go back to where I was going with the other thing. So I'm at TSB still, and I got a day where I have a bus car, so I can go to Hermosa Beach. And I've been working hard. I'm tired, burned out, and my buddy and I, Kyle, he's like, "Let's just go eat at the pier." Okay. So we go sit down there, we're eating at the pier. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning, 7:45. And we're on the frequency with Santa Clarita, which is my old station, right? I hadn't been at TSB that long. And there's shots fired. And I hear deputy down. And it ends up being my buddy Jake Cregian. He got shot and killed.
Damn, I'm sorry to hear that.
So I end up telling Watch Command I'm rolling Code 3 up to Santa Clarita. I rolled straight to the hospital. He took a round, 223 round to the head, went right through the helmet, took him out. Guy was an ex-cop that was suspect, barricaded. And so, that was like my second loss, being in the agency. And it was another friend of mine. And now I'd only been on, that was in 2001. It was 11 days before 9/11. It happened on August 31st. Of 2001. So now I'd only been on the department 5 years, lost 2 friends in that short period of time. Damn. And
are you feeling it yet at this point?
Yeah, like that one hit me hard. He was my buddy.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, Shane hit me hard, but when Jake got killed, Jake was like high on life, always laughing. He's Armenian, so he had this funny ass accent and laugh, and always a cool dude, and knew me since I was a kid, that type of stuff. So that one hit me pretty hard. And then, I'm told that it was because that was August of 01, and by December of 01, I'm told I'm going to the gang unit. Somebody put my name in the hat for our gang enforcement detail, which was a real assignment. And I was like, so I come into work, like my last week or week and a half of work, and the lieutenant says, "Hey, we're benching you. You're gonna work the transit center in South Bay, and it's a mall transit center where the buses come in."
What'd you do to screw up to get that position?
He didn't want me getting involved in shit. He's like, "Dude, you've already gotten in so much stuff. You want to go to the gang unit? You ain't doing shit. I'm locking you down, taking you out of your car." I'm like, "What the fuck?" But I still have to take a car to it, right? He's like, "Do not do shit. Do not jam anybody. Don't run a license plate. You're going there. You're staying there. And I don't want to fucking hear it." I'm like, "This is bullshit." I'm all pissed off. I walk out of the lieutenant's office like, "Fuck this," My last week or whatever here, you guys are going to fuck me? I'm not in trouble, nothing.
Oh, it's just a week, though.
Week and a half, whatever.
Okay, I thought this was
but
like
I was
a permanent.
pissed. It was like my last time there.
Yeah.
You're going to take it away from me at the end? Yeah. Really? So, fuck it. So I'm driving there. I'm pissed off. I'm not running any license plates. I'm just, trying to drive like this. And I get to the transit center, and I pull in and I park, and I get out, and there's a bus driver there, and he's smoking a cigarette, and I start talking to him. And he kind of, if you and I are talking, he kind of does this. And I'm like, "What?" And I turn around and look. What did I see? Glorious sight. 2 peanut heads and a Toyota Camry driving through the bus zone where it's no vehicles allowed. So get on the radio, run the plate over the radio. Comes back stolen. So I jump in my patrol car. We're in pursuit, chasing through the park. I go to the very top of the parking structure, box them in. I'm screaming chaos at them. I'm going to fucking kill them. And so we get 2 in custody. So then I start getting phone calls on my cell phone, like, "Dude, the fucking lieutenant's hot, he's throwing shit in his office." And
you're supposed to be chilling, and here you are chasing guys.
And I'm like, I was exactly where I was supposed to be, doing exactly what the guy, they're not supposed to drive through the bus zone. That's my RD that night. Mm-hmm. And so we get the guys, they're hooked, and they're getting booked for me, and they're towing the car, and I go back to the station. I have to do a probable cause declaration to say, what I saw and what I did and why they're in custody. And I walked in the lieutenant's office, and I sit it down in front of him, and I go, "Do you want me to?" And he goes, and he just reads it, and he signs it, and he freaking hands it back to me. He goes, "Get the hell out of my office," and it was and he started laughing, but he was so fucking pissed at me. But it was that shit, that LoJack, that magnetism of I couldn't even get locked down at a bus transit center without getting into the shit. And so I left there on that note from that assignment, and I was off to the gang unit. And that was in January of 2002 when I went to the gang unit.
So that's at 5.5, 6 years in now?
Just less than 6 years.
Before you actually are doing the job you really wanted to pursue, which is the gangs. And
I'm wearing a polo shirt and jeans in a no-call car with a partner who I ended up becoming a really good friend, like a brother. And a lot of my friends that went to custody that waited for Century and Lennox, all these stations, were in for 6 years, 7 years to go to start brand new as a trainee. And here I am just under 6 years in, and I'm already in the gang unit. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't because I wasn't working hard, and it wasn't because I was Santa Clarita trained or I went to TSB. Yeah. It was because I was working hard, and I didn't let that jacket, even though it still hurt me throughout my career. People would talk shit, like, "Oh, he's just that fucking dude that, all right, whatever." But so I went to the gang unit. My first night, we had a gangster run from us, toss a gun. And so from that point on, literally my first shift, I I was like accepted like amongst the guys. Like, oh, he is trying to put the work in. So.
Okay, let's jump into gangs. I want to know the depths of gangs, of just how they function, what people just don't know about gangs, organized crime that are inside of these cities. So let's dive into that. So you said your first night, you pursued a gang member already?
Yeah.
So how are they preparing you for these to jump into a gang unit? What's the transition from going street cop, whatever you were working prior, to, okay, you're in this gang unit now? What is the day-to-day of that?
Trial by fire.
Okay.
Initially. There is
Sink or
gang
swim?
school. They will send you to a gang school, which I did, 40 hours. Because what happens is once you go to a unit like that and you start dealing with gangsters all the time, what happens? If you make arrests, like that night I arrested a gangster with a gun. Tells you he's a gangster, tells you his moniker, he's got tattoos, he's got a gun, and now it's going to go to court. And you go to a preliminary hearing at a court, you need to be qualified as a gang expert to bring all this gang stuff in. So you got to be able to say what your background, training, and experience is with criminal street gangs. And when you're new, granted, I had the jail gang unit and I had all my stuff down in LA, so I was able to bring that in early on. Typically, you want to be able to also say you attended a 40-hour gang school and you did this or that or the other. So
That makes so much of a difference, not just being a law enforcement officer and you being a professional at your job.
to be accepted by defense attorneys or a judge as a qualified gang expert, yeah, it matters. It does matter to them.
Why? What are you picking out that
credibility.
a normal cop isn't? I mean, I get the credibility. You're been around, tattoos and all there's probably so much more. But why can't a normal cop sit there and do that? It's just
They can.
Okay.
And I've had friends that do it, but they always end up going to the gang unit too. Like, I can't say always. A lot of them tend to go to the gang units because they like it. You take pride in it. Most cops they get their arrest, they write the report, they push it off, and they're done, and they're on to the next call. They don't have time to deal with that stuff. Like, they're just hooking and booking and handling their business, writing their reports, going to court, and they're on to the next shift, and they've got 10 more calls in their buffer in their computer, and they're just going nonstop and doing the best they can. They don't have the time to find out who the rivalries are, what the tattoos mean, how much time somebody's done, who their family members are, who the homies are, what the primary activities of that gang are. Are they into selling dope? Are they into chopping cars? Are they into shootings? Are they into tagging? Or were they a tagging crew first before they became a gang? The evolution of gangs. Most patrol cops, don't necessarily have the time to because they're buried in just nonstop. They're handling the domestic violence and the robberies and the carjackings and the traffic collisions and all the other stuff. And then they get their occasional traffic stop and they're pulling dope or a gun. They're writing it. They're getting great arrests, but they don't have the time to deal with the gang stuff. A lot of them don't.
That makes sense, 100%. Okay, so when you go to the courts, when you get up on the stand, you're like, hey, I've been in a gang unit for X amount of time. These schools, XYZ. Now that once you just explained it, okay, that I can see a difference versus the normal street cop that just, what's that tattoo? Okay, it's an MS-13. Okay, we're gonna log that. This much dope, this many guns. But do you guys eventually get those arrests and you start looking through and you're like, oh, I know this guy. You can start piecing things together. So you're painting the full picture of these gang units, life, what they're into, versus a cop that's just a slave to the radio or happens to catch a gang member in whatever their day-to-day is, and then they either arrest, cite, move on. You dig everything up on that person's life and who they're associated with, hoods, everything like that.
And you'll get gangsters, man, where are you from? Man, I don't bang. And then you start looking at them and they're blasted with different tattoos that from gang stuff. What street they live on. And especially if they're from LA and you're in the North County, like Palmdale, Lancaster, which was a melting pot, a lot of the LA gangsters will go up there. You get them lying to you. They'll tell you they're from a street. You from so-and-so? No, never heard of them. Or, no, man, I hung out with Bloods. Well, man, that's not a Blood street. That's Crips, So you would get them that they'd lie to you all the time. They didn't want to get put on the gang file. They knew what that meant. The problem with gang stuff is that we educate the gangsters all the time. Every single time there's another case and we go to court, everything that we testify to, we're educating the defense and gang members.
Okay.
And you know that they're going to go back through the system again. Unless you get them on a hot one where they're going for life. They're pleading out. They're taking 3 years, 5 years, 7, or maybe they get 10, 12 years. They're going to get out in 6 or 8, and they're going to go right back to the life. And they're doing it while they're in custody. They're going in as a gangster. So it's not like they're going to get rehabilitated. Typically, from what I saw with gang members, especially with drugs involved, they'd be in and out of the system, and even guys that I tried to help, because it wasn't always about fucking hammer everybody. I liked giving breaks. I had a lot of informants on the street from giving breaks.
Well, I could tell just by talking to you from the jail side of things, you look at, and I could be completely wrong, but it sounds like how you talk about people, you're looking at them as a human, not a gangbanger, not a drug addict. You, just from this conversation, I was picking up on how you respond to certain things. So you're, I don't want to say compassionate about helping every single person, but you looking at everybody the same. They're not just a criminal and coming in with that mindset as a cop.
It's all respect based.
Absolutely.
And if they have none for you, then they get zero love, and you hammer them and you put a case on them, you send them away. But if they have respect and they're just like you said earlier, we're talking, I think, you get some hardcore dude that knows he fucked up. If he's legit, he's going to tell you, man, I fucked up, and he's not going to be then going to court and saying, well, man, you lied on me. You planted the evidence. You're this, you that. That's the punks that are like, all right. But the guys that would take ownership of stuff, I worked with people all the time, and I would cut breaks more often than I arrested somebody. I gave a break. Why? And it was because I always knew that working in that unit, number one, you can't get stuff done by yourself. You have to build a coalition, a team, whether it's patrol people, your fellow teammates, people in the streets, civilians. You're not going to get anything done if everybody hates you or everybody thinks that you're just this guy that's like, fuck everybody, fuck the world, I got power, I'm a cop. That's not going to get you anywhere.
Never.
Build the relationships, cut breaks where you can, and it'll pay dividends. And I always told them, if I cut them loose on a good one, dope, whatever, and it's like, man, if I'm getting my ass kicked in that gutter over there one day, you better fucking stop and help me, because you don't know. That next traffic stop, and that happened to me, you're in a fight for your life, and who knows that gangster driving down the streets, man, that's fucking Gillis. He fucking cut me a break. You never know.
Respect.
So you just put it out there. And karma is always a thing too. If you're lying on people, if you're stealing, you're cheating, whatever, it's going to come back to bite you. So if you treat people, it doesn't mean that I was never not an asshole. Like there's times you got to be an asshole.
Oh, for sure.
But that wasn't my standard operating. I believed in giving respect, and I had a shit fuck ton of informants all across you name it.
Is that how you turn informants? Is just respect, or do you, by cutting them loose, you technically now have something on them? Does it work like that on the streets?
Some of it's leverage, but not all of it. Some of it's just shooting the shit. Some of it's you're dealing with somebody from their family and treating the family member with respect, and then they remember that, and they're like, "Hey, Gillis, do you remember that time? Hey, I need you to. Can you do me a favor too?" And it's like, "What's up?" And it's like, "Oh man, my nephew, he got popped for that. Can you just talk to the DA for me and just." That type of stuff. It's like, yeah, man, I'll see what I can do. Doesn't mean I can do it, like get anything changed on it.
But you can do what he's asking.
The time you take to talk to them and listen to them and be if I could be just easy, man, fuck him. He fucking did the crime. He can do the time. Fuck him.
Yeah.
Well, what did I just do? I shut down that whole family. But where I say, and I'll give you an example. There was this family out there, notorious. Crazy Kings Familia was the name of the gang. I can say it.
Never heard of that.
They hated me.
Okay.
They hated me because I was just nonstop. I was jamming the homies. We're in pursuits. We're taking them to jail. We're taking their guns. We're in their houses. We're doing search warrants. We're doing probation searches. And there was one family that we were always dealing with, and they were in and out, in and out, in and out. And so one day I get called. One of the kids gets killed. His own homeboys killed him. In-house murder. Blasted him. So I get in. Homicides talk to me like, hey, do you know who the homeboys are? So we start working together on it, and I know exactly who did it, who's involved. Start putting the word out on the street.
How do you know?
From a lot of it's from informants, and knowing their association. Well, who do they hang out with all the time? And I got to tell you another story, but that'll be a little bit. I don't know how much time I got, but
all of it.
So you just know who their close associates are, even within their own neighborhood.
Okay.
What girls they're dating, where that girl lives, what kind of car the girl drives, what kind of car the girl's parents drive.
Are you trying to find them? So once there's a shooting and then who's rolling, do you just try to cross paths with a chick that you know is an ex or something? And you're like, yo, what's up? Is that how it kind of goes?
Well, you know where to look when something happens.
Okay.
And then the other thing I will say is, and this is a broad-based statement, and I won't say it's 100% accurate, but I would say probably more than 50% of the girls, they're victimized. They're beat up, they're cheated on, they're whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of times they want to get back at their homeboys or their boyfriends or their ex-boyfriends or whatever. So when something happens, you have that relationship established. They're more likely to be like, hey, man, Gillis, it's fucking, so-and-so from such and such. I know it is because of, and here's where he stashed the gun and there's where the car is.
How often is that accurate?
It was all the time. Like, it was a constant joke with me. Like, I had so many informants out there. When something happened, they were like, get a hold of Gillis, he'll know.
No shit. So you're working that many informants.
Yeah.
That's a huge asset to have there.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was. And I don't know how people don't operate like that. It could be different now because, like, a leverage thing, you don't really have a lot in California.
Yeah.
Drugs are kind of like a slap on the wrist, and most crimes are like whatever. And even gang crimes are kind of being prosecuted kind of weak now in California. Inmates have all the rights, as far as the cops are all liars. The cops are gang members. The narrative's completely flipped from when I was out there. But so
do your informants get anything in return, or is it just, did they ever ask, or is that crossing the line? Is that like the CEO thing, or as a cop, are you able to actually hook them up a little bit more to try to get things out of them?
Yeah, I mean, so when I was on a Mexican Mafia task force, I had informants within that I paid.
You worked on a Mexican Mafia task force?
Yeah. So they were carded informants, logged, numbered, sergeant, lieutenant, captain sign off on it. Everything's on the up and up. And I had informants that I paid thousands of dollars to that were giving me all kinds of stuff, but very well documented and within policy. Yeah.
Oh, so once you get them and they know they're making decent money, and then obviously the information they're giving you is creditable, departments have no problem paying that stuff out.
Once they're credible, once you start pulling stuff that they're saying, hey, so-and-so did this murder, there's the gun, and you go get it, and it's the gun, and that's now that person is credible, reliable informant, a CRI. And so that person from now on, you still got to manage them, because the problem is that an informant, if you start working them, they think that they're working you, and that's the important thing to do, is almost make them feel like they're working you. That's how I operated.
Okay.
But I was always working them. When they do that whole, hey, Gillis, man, can you do me a favor? Yeah, man, no problem.
Yeah, I got you. Let me see what I can do. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and you just...
Can't promise anything, but I'll make a call for you.
Yep. And I had one time, and he pissed me off because he's like, hey, let's meet. And I had to meet at a certain spot near our SWAT team headquarters because I knew it was safe for me. And there was no friendlies were going to see him. And so I had a set spot. He fucking pulls in when his wife's driving, pulls in one day. He's sitting in the passenger seat. And it's a day to pay him, like $1,000. I got a lieutenant coming to sign off on it as witnessing it and stuff. And I walk up to the car, and I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And as I walk, and you never trust them. Never trust an informant. Never walk up and not treat them like they are the same guy that's going to kill you. That's why I always approached like that. You don't have to be like, hey, motherfucker. No, but you're just state of mind. This guy could be the day he's going to kill me because somebody told him to kill me. So I walk up like I'm on a traffic stop in a parking lot, and I look in, and he's got a freaking 12-gauge shotgun right here between his legs. Mafia dude, felon, been to prison and stuff. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? He's, oh man, gee, the homies, they stashed it this morning in my laundry room. I had to give it, I had to get it to you. I didn't know what to do, so I just brought. I'm like, what the fuck, dude? You're gonna go back to prison for this? It wasn't that he was trying to be dirty. He's not trying to do a drive-by. Not just trying to shoot me.
This dude shows up
there with a fucking gauge. And I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
This dude's a felon and working as an informant. Rolls.
So that's the shit you have to manage them and check them. Like, dude, you can't fucking do that. I lit his ass up. Like, I was like, motherfucker, if you do that shit again, if somebody stops you, I ain't saving you.
You're on your own. We don't know each other.
Be smart, dude. And it was like, oh man, gee, I was trying to do the right thing. And I'm like, that's fine. I get it. But don't ever fucking do it again. So there's shit you got to be careful with your informants. You can't ever trust them, number one, because they'll piss backwards, and who knows if they get caught slipping. So then they're double agent on you too.
Do you ever have that?
I'd have to think hard on that one. I don't know if I've had that happen.
That's got to suck. Thinking you're working somebody the whole time they're really working you as a double agent. That would.
Yeah, you really got to. But you always vet them. Like I always made sure to vet them and made sure I was working them. Okay. I've had, even being here, since I've lived here, one recently called me. I haven't talked, for years I haven't talked, because the thing is, at the gang unit, the gang enforcement detail, you're just a deputy. You're not a detective, you're just a gang deputy. You do not get a county phone assigned to you.
Okay.
So you have your own phone. You either get a burner phone or you have your own phone. Well, I had my own phone.
Yeah.
I used to hand my personal phone number out to gangsters all the time. Now, occasionally I get that text 187, like threatening me, like a murder or whatever.
Yeah.
But I gave that number out for so long, and I've had that phone number, the one you text me on, for so long that people still have it. And recently a dude called me. He's like, hey, man, I need you to call him. I didn't call him back. I'm so far out of the game now.
For sure.
But he called me one night, and we're all jumping around on these stories because there's so many of them. But we're in bed. My wife and I are in bed, my current wife. And my phone rings, and it's like a little after midnight one night. And it's that same gangster. He's like, out of his mind. Dude, fucking Scrappy just shot up my house. And I'm like, what? And I sit up in bed. He's like, yeah, it was so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so. They were in so-and-so's ride, and they fucking shot him. Nope, none of us are hit. Well, I got all my shit at home, all my equipment, so I get on the radio at home advising dispatch. We got a drive-by shooting that just occurred at this location. Walk and don't walk up in Palmdale. Suspect vehicle is this. They're going to this location. These are the suspects. They got them all in custody that night, got the gun. Because that dude called me when his house got shot up.
He was legit.
He didn't call 911. He called me. I'm like, dude, you got to fucking call 911. Don't call me. But that's not the time to have that conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Like later. But that's the kind of relationship, and I don't say it in a way like I'm a dirty cop, but you do form relationships. If you take your job seriously, you have to form relationships.
I feel like that's just everything in life. Any job that you have, you want to have the best outcome, the greatest time, get the most out of it is building a relationship with everybody around you. And then you just get to know who's who. You get to put them on their shelves. Yeah. And just know how these people function, especially as a cop or a paramedic. Anything you're like us in Iraq, there was people you had to, hey, we'd go out of our way to provide bottles of water to people and carrying them through these little aqueduct systems and through these paddies. Just be like, oh, hey, they're bringing stuff across at night over in these rowboats on these little islands. Like, oh shit, okay, cool. We'll just keep whatever they wanted. We'll just give it to them. It was just building a relationship, and how much stuff would come from that. And then you'd get the other units that are just kicking every door in, smashing everything, tearing up houses, and like, man, we're not finding anything. And then we go for one patrol, and then we have 4 families tell us all these caches, and you're like,
same philosophy.
There's going in with a sledgehammer versus going in and, hey, let's have a conversation. There's a major difference, especially I feel in the gang unit, because everything goes down to respect.
Yeah.
I mean, you see how dude's murdered over he looked at me wrong. You're just like, what the fuck?
Or it's always over a girl too.
Talk to my girl. It's like disrespected me. We had to take care of him. You're like, over that?
Yep.
He just lost his whole entire life over somebody talking to his chick. What's a huge misconception about gang life that most people just would not be able to process?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of from what I've seen personally, a lot of the guys, and I dealt primarily with male gang members, not female. Like, you occasionally run into females, but mostly dudes for me. There's not a lot you can do to change their trajectory. It's within themselves. And it sounds like kind of cliche to say that, but it is true. I mean, a lot of them that I saw, no matter how many chances I gave them, no matter how many breaks I gave them, they would find a way to fall back into doing something or hang with the homies, and something happened, and it's like, fuck, dude, now you're involved in this shit. How the hell I can't clean this up for you. You're fucked, Most of them, they don't, until they're like mid to late 30s is when they decide they've had enough, and they really do leave, and you really can help them get out.
Till then, though, they're in it.
It's like in and out of county jail, in and out of prison. They lose their wives. They lose their girlfriends. Their girlfriends are banging other people. They don't get to see their kids. Their kids don't want to see them. And they finally get tired of it and say, all right, G, I'm ready. I helped a guy get out of prison. He was in for carjacking, and he got killed like 6 months after I got him out. But he had done a lot of stuff for me. And hardcore dude. Hardcore. Hardest core. And mafia type people. And he when he got out, he was so proud that he got out, and he couldn't believe that I actually helped him. And his stepdad called me one day, and he's like, we didn't know what to think of you that first day we met you, but you're legit. And I'm like, well, I told you, like, where I can. Yeah. And he got killed in a car accident. He didn't get killed doing something in trouble. Oh, man. He got killed in a car accident. It wasn't even his fault. Somebody went on the wrong side of the road and whacked him. But you have to have these relationships, and I think the misconception is that I don't want to justify gang life I'm not ever going to justify gang life, but they all have their own stories, and they are all their own individual person.
Absolutely.
Some are, you can't salvage them. They're gone. They don't give a shit about you, me, their own mom. If they don't care about their own mom or their own brother or sister or whatever,
there's no coming back.
You're nobody to them. But there are a lot of them that do. There are a lot of them that are close to their moms.
A lot of them are doing
especially.
it because of for their moms.
Yeah.
I mean, trying to provide, make extra.
And they get caught up. And if they don't become involved in something, in a Compton or a Linwood or whatever, then they're going to get targeted, you know? So they, by default, they get involved at a young age, and then they pick up their first case. And I write about, in my book, Gustavo Ceballos, he was the kid that I got my very first shift in gangs. 15 years old, tossed a gun, ran from us, and we got him. You fast forward to 3 years later, he got smoked on a shooting. He got killed. He was doing a drive-by, and they shot back, and he got killed. And I had been great relationship with him. He went to juvenile hall that first night, got back out, talked to him a ton of times. I talked to him like the night or two before he got killed. Saw him out in the streets, shooting the shit with him. Pull up, he's freaking bumping knuckles with me, and 2 days later, he's dead in a car.
Does that affect you at all?
It's just a bummer. It's like a loss. You take it as an L. Like,
Yeah.
try to help a guy, and you look back, oh, is that first arrest what sent him? No. His brother sent him on his way. His brother was a hardcore gangster. I chased his brother in a pursuit. Brother tossed a gun. Like, he went to prison, too, on a case that I put on him. You know, there's sometimes you just can't help them. You try to do what you can, but you can lead a horse to water, like they say, but you can't make them drink.
Yep.
A lot of these guys, until they're tired, they are going to stick with that lifestyle. And then finally they get tired, and then you hope they got something left in the tank.
How many of them, though? I feel like by the time you're in your 30s, they've been so far in and out of the system, this just becomes part of their life now.
They're indoctrinated. And then who's going to hire them? And the money they can make slinging dope versus what they make in a 9 to 5, they start looking at that. But again, when they're finally tired, doesn't matter. They'll do it. They'll get the job. They'll go to their halfway house or their rehab center. They'll get off the dope or off the alcohol. Or
It's crazy how it takes them to. There's that switch of all those years of trying to get clean, trying to get out of the life. They get sucked back in, sucked back in, sucked back in. Then all of a sudden, when they know, when they're officially done, you see these guys that are in and out of the system, going in and out of prison. They're 20 years. Oh, I'm down 30 years. You know, throughout my whole life, and then they're like, I was just done with it. Couldn't do it anymore. It took 30 years of in and out. Then you realize it wasn't for you. But it's just that aha moment for them, and then I guess it's just up to you at that point that when you're ready to change your life and get back on track.
when their own homeboys fuck them over. That's the other thing that happens. It's a game. Even in prison, you know, I saw you had Hector Bravo on here. Like, that guy's funny. I watch his stuff,
I love
too.
Hector.
And, you know, it's a game. And their own homeboys will fuck them over eventually. Sure. And even in the Mexican Mafia, like, they end up whacking their own. And, you know, here they are tight and the brotherhood and all that stuff. And it's only good for as long as it is until the next power play comes. And then that person who's devoted their whole life to that lifestyle gets whacked, drop of a hat.
Never thought of again.
You know, and they've done what? They've given up their whole life, literally, and they've done dirt. So back to that karma thing. When you're doing dirt and killing people and raping people and lying, cheating, stealing, it catches up. And, you know, some people get caught up at the end, and then they realize it's too late. But that's another thing when people get tired and they're in and out, and they finally get tired, they're also getting fucked over by their own homeboys. For sure. And then who's coming to visit them? Who's putting money on their books? Who's banging their chick on the streets now that they're locked up? You know, they feel like this sense of betrayal too. So they finally get tired.
Makes sense. How organized are these gangs?
Very.
How?
Across the board. They got people everywhere. They got girls working in DMVs and utility companies, and one of them has a sister at a Catholic church that's doing stuff. The case that I worked on, they've got stuff all over the place, man. Their networking is incredible. How they move dope, how they sell dope, human trafficking, women in prostitution, you name it. You name it, across the board in all types of crimes, they have it on lockdown.
Really?
And these neighborhoods, you know, like, there's rules. The Mexican Mafia puts out rules to the gangs on the streets with what they're allowed to do, what they're not allowed to do. They cross the line, they could be greenlit. They don't pay taxes, they get greenlit. There's, you know, somebody in a gang kills a little kid, the whole gang's going to probably get greenlit. So there's rules within the rules of what they're allowed to do and what they're not allowed to do. It's very organized. What I see primarily the Hispanic structure is incredible. They do a stand-up job. Hector probably say the same thing. Like they are.
He said, "Yeah,
they are solid. Like they've got their rank structure. They have their pecking order. It was the biggest fuck up that the CDC ever did, allowing those guys out of Pelican Bay, because when they were on lockdown,
they did that on purpose.
I know they did, but it was a lawsuit too, and it was a hunger strike and these other things that happened. But what they did was they put the heavy hitters back in mainline, where the heavy hitters did not have a lot. They still got information out. They still had dirty whatever COs or whatever the fuck they're doing at Pelican Bay, and at Folsom and these different places. They were all locked down, but once they put them back on mainline, they just spread the power base across the whole system. Crime goes up because now they got action. They're on the phones. They got all kinds of shit. And
they're able to call shots 24/7.
Yeah, and then murders, like he's talking about, murders going up. I mean, there was a Mexican Mafia guy that I was working around that got smoked last year, the year before, in custody. He got stabbed. He should have been still locked down at Pelican Bay. But instead, he's on mainline and he gets whacked. Like, it should have never happened. He'd still be on Pelican Bay, but
that is insane of how, because I in military side, you always want to go to, I always think how sophisticated they were in Iraq and Afghanistan with watches, and I mean, dude, they're calling villages ahead, or you're coming. The networking system, we'd be on you'd hear them on the radios, because we could tune into all that stuff. So I can only imagine gangs here in the U.S. with all the resources endless at their fingertips, so they're able to play the ultimate cat and mouse game with you guys.
We couldn't let people know what we were doing, like even within our own agency. We had to keep stuff close to the vest. Like if it was a big case, or if we're working on a search warrant, say we're going to hit 5 houses or 10 houses related to one gang.
Yeah.
We didn't want any of that information getting out of what we were doing because we couldn't risk it getting leaked. So
are there that many? I'm not saying there's a ton of bad cops, but I mean,
it's not just cops, it's secretaries, it's, you name it. They got people everywhere. And so, and you don't know who somebody's related to, like if she's sitting in some restaurant and I'm sitting there talking shit about Bam she's going to tell you, hey, this guy Gillis is in this talking shit about you. It's the same thing in that world. You got secretaries that are related, or wives or girlfriends or cousins or nieces. On purpose. Yeah.
I had a buddy. I'm trying to get him on the podcast. He was actually one of my mentors in the Marine Corps. Anybody that was in my field knows who this dude is. But his cousin got locked up in Chino when they were banging when they were kids. His cousin gets locked up in Chino. He's all full tatted, prison tats, gets his whole entire back blasted black to cover up all his gang affiliated tattoos, and goes and ends up becoming a CO in Chino just to look out for his cousin. And then that led him to joining the Marine Corps. He ended up becoming the youngest detective in his department of like all times, or California at one point. So he's running all the narco shit, and he was a Marine. He retired from the Marine Corps and as a PD. I mean, he changed his life around, but he originally got into it to look out for his cousin that was locked up in Chino, and led him to. I mean, he eventually got his shit together and became retired from both. Pulled two retirements, but yeah, I mean, that was the whole point he got into it, was to look out for his cousin and have some pull inside the prison with him.
Yeah, I mean, like warrants. If you do a 10 location, like I did a 16 location warrant in Boyle Heights, East LA area.
Shit.
And so what you do is you have to make sure that every door is hit at the same time. Because if you say you hit 5 over here and you don't make it to the other ones, they're all calling, you're done.
Immediately.
And so the other thing was, it was LAPD's area. And we knew that there was somebody from Hollenbeck Division that was talking to some of the gangsters from the hood that we were hitting. So I couldn't even notify LAPD, even though we were in their area. So I had to wait, because by policy, you're supposed to notify an agency if you go in there. You don't want friendly fire or anything like that. And so we're pulling up to the locations, and I called Hollenbeck Watch Commander, say, hey, FYI, we're sheriffs, we're going to be in your area doing a warrant operation over here it was on Soto. And he's like, oh, you guys are there already? I'm like, yes, sir, we're here now. Thanks, and hang up. Did my due diligence.
Yeah.
LAPD didn't know shit until, and that's not a diss on LA. I got plenty of friends that work there. I love those guys. But when you can't control, and anybody in that line of work understands that, when you don't know who's going to find out, you have to keep it quiet. And I would expect the same from LAPD for the sheriffs. Like, they don't want us knowing what they're doing when they come into our area unless they have to. And So I think it's just it's one of those things. But you know, it was a successful operation. We took a ton of people to jail and guns and drugs and stuff like that. But I couldn't risk it. And then I had another one in 06 or 07. I had a shooting I was investigating. I was a detective by that point. And I had 2 gangsters ID'd in the shooting. And I filed the case, and I had warrants, Ramey warrants, so that I didn't have the warrants put in the system yet. I just had the paper signed by the judge that I'm good to arrest them. And I had a search warrant operation set up. And my wife was out there on training. And so I said, hey, look, you need a feather in your cap. If you see either of these guys, pick them off and call me. We'll hit the house then. Instead of waiting, we'll just do it. So sure as shit, they get one of my guys, backseat of the patrol car, and guy she's with pulls the guy out, and she tells him, hey, Gillis is looking for this guy. He's got a warrant. So he lets the guy out of the back seat, dusts him off, and sends him on his way. And he gets back in the car, and my wife's like, why do we kick him loose? Gillis, he's like, nah, we'll talk to him later.
That's a huge red
flag. So my wife calls me and says, hey, I think you're burned on your warrant. I thought I was good. We had the guy in our back seat. $3 million warrant I had for the dude.
And the cop let him go?
Attempted murder. And so I call my team up, and I'm like, look, I just got a call from my wife. We hadn't been married yet, so she was my fiance at the time. But this is what's up. They had my guy. What are we going to do? Warrant was scheduled for the next morning, 0500. And talked to the sergeant, talked to my team. I'm like, well, two schools of thought. Number one, they're going to be gone. They're in the wind. They're not going to be there. Second school of thought, is it more dangerous because I know we're coming? But most are going to just flee. They're not going to, they don't want to, if they know you're coming, they got a day notice, they're gone, right? Yeah. So we hit the pad, they were gone. And 6 months later, 3 months later, something like that, dude gets caught jaywalking. They run him in the system. He's got a warrant for his arrest. I get called. I go meet him at the jail. And he says, yeah, I used to play baseball with that deputy's son. Grew up together. He told me to kick rocks. I said, okay. That's the stuff you have to worry about. His son, the deputy's son, grew up with Shitbag, and that deputy was willing to tell Shitbag that I was coming for him on the shooting. That guy got fired. That deputy got fired.
Okay. I was just going to ask, he
got fired.
Rightfully so.
Yeah. But I didn't, we tried to keep it in-house, to keep it like, we don't want back to that, do we want to be snitches? Now we know that what this guy's about.
Yeah, but it involved in a shooting. It's not like it was like this dude broke into a car or something like that. Even still, I still wouldn't justify letting somebody go. But on a $3 million bond.
It grew legs from there. So one of my teammates left our team and went to a federal drug task force.
Yeah.
They're down working out of the HIDA office in L.A., and that same deputy hits on a wiretap on some dope thing. And so he had his own set of problems besides that. So it really all fit together like a puzzle.
It just peeled the scab off.
The problem is that my old partner on my team tells the federal agents, yeah, one of the guys on my team got snitched off on a search warrant. Well, I didn't make an issue. We kept it within our team. Like, we won't trust that dude.
Yeah.
I want my fiance away from him. So once they did, the federal agents called me and my fiance down to the federal building. We had to sit there and get interviewed about this incident with my warrant. And so it kind of put me on Front Street, like, how come you didn't report it, kind of a thing. And it's like, well, it is what it is. It's like, it was my search warrant. It was my case. Now I know I can't trust him. I told my sergeant. My team is aware. I didn't feel the need at that time to take it to the next level, but they were now working on trafficking with the same deputy.
So this cop showed up on somebody's...
Yeah, they arrested him at work.
That's got to be so degrading as a cop.
Yeah, I hope so. Should be.
Do they do that on purpose? Do they try to?
Maybe. Yeah, I mean, it's safe. It's safer. You don't want him to go home. He's in his castle. Anything can happen in your castle, right?
For sure.
So I think it's safer. You do it at work, you never see it coming, right?
Yeah, you walk into your office and...
Yeah.
That has got to be the worst feeling in the world as a cop, knowing that you're caught, that you just jeopardized your whole entire career and life and everything for
freaking dirtbag,
for drugs or a kickback.
Tied to a cartel.
He what?
Yep, tied to a cartel.
That cop was tied to
Yep, that's what I'm saying. You never know. Some of these agencies, we all have. It's not unique to us. It's for sure everywhere.
But I mean, being in LA, it's kind of a headquarters for Mexican Mafia and everything else.
Yeah.
Did you almost have any gang members kill you all those years?
Yeah.
How? Let me hear one of those.
Well, I mean, I've been shot at a few times.
Yeah.
But I will
Do you have
tell
any close calls from gang members?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been in a couple shootings where in one, well, the first one wasn't a gang member. The second one was two gangsters in a car. There was actually three in the car, but we got the driver out. And then the two that were left in the car, we were in Compton, pulled out a gun. We saw the gun get brought up. By that point, I'm shooting already. My partner to my left is shooting. The driver threw it in reverse, rammed my patrol car. And I had fired off a lot of rounds. I didn't count them, but I knew it was a lot. And dropped my mag, reloaded, came up, and they pulled away and crashed into a building. That's in my book. There were two gangsters. One was on parole, one was on probation. They were in Compton. And one of them had put their dad on the floor and stuck the gun to the dad's head and then fled. And then I got the call. I was an assisting unit. It wasn't my call, but the call that we got was it was a red BMW with no plates that they fled in. And I happened to see that pull into a liquor store on Long Beach Boulevard in Compton. And those were the suspects. So I stopped the car by myself and detained them at gunpoint, acted like a crazy man that I was going to kill them all if they moved and get their hands up. The helicopter came overhead first, and then some Sentry units showed up to back me up and some Compton units. And it went like any other felony stop. We got the driver out at gunpoint, came back, was down by my front fender, getting handcuffed. And when he did is when the two in the car pulled the gun and then rammed me. So
No
we
kidding.
ended up killing both of them. Yeah, they were both killed on scene. I thought I got shot, didn't.
Why did you think you got shot?
I had 2 bullet holes in my windshield, and my stomach was killing me. Like I had sharp pain in my low stomach. And so I told one of the guys that showed up from Sentry that I knew, and he stuck his hand right down my front of my waistband behind my magazine pouch and pulled it out. He's like, dude, you got no blood. You're good. And I didn't get shot. So I don't know if it was like an adrenaline pump with a crash at the same. I don't know what it was, but it was like I had a knife stuck in my gut. It hurt bad. And it was my second shooting. So I wanted to get into that later, but chronologically, we're kind of jumping ahead again. But I
mean, honestly, nobody knows any chronological order, so don't stress.
Well, we're jumping in years, so that's why I'm saying.
I got you.
In July of 03. We got in a pursuit in Compton. Guy had tried killing his family with a machete.
God.
Got away. The Arrow unit saw the car off of Rosecrans in Santa Fe and Compton, called it out to us. So we end up being the second unit in the pursuit. I'm on overtime. I'm not even assigned to Compton Station. I'm assigned to the gang unit, but I'm working gang overtime in Compton.
Okay.
And my buddy is assigned to the gang unit that was driving. So we get in a pursuit, and we end up chasing him back to his house. And he jumps out, and he's got a pickaxe, and he runs up the walkway to his front door. He's trying to get in, and me and another deputy are behind him in foot pursuit. And he stops, and he turns around, and he screams at us and raises it over his head and starts running towards us, going, "Ah!" And we dropped him in the front yard. And while we're shooting him, I get tugged on me by a 10-year-old kid telling me to stop killing his dad.
Oh, my God.
That was in July of 03. So then he killed him. So then 3 weeks later, I'm working up in Palmdale, which is my normal gang assignment. And I'm leaving our office in Lancaster. It's kind of the same valley.
Yep.
And I hear they're looking for a deputy on the radio. He's not answering. So I call the station. I'm like, hey, I'm on my way to Compton for overtime. What's going on? Well, we can't find the deputy, and now somebody's reporting shots fired out there. I said, all right, cancel my overtime. I'm rolling to the thing. It was in Lake LA, which is like a outskirt of Palmdale, Lancaster. Pretty rural. Takes about half hour or so to get out to it. And so I end up calling Compton while I'm rolling code 3 to Lake LA. I'm calling Compton saying, cancel my overtime. We got a missing deputy. So haul ass out there. I'm getting lost. I'm on dirt roads. I finally come out onto a paved road. I see our helicopter set. And by this point, we're updated that the deputy's dead. They found him. He was tied, a rope tied to his ankles. He got dragged down the road, and the rope broke, and he was laying in the middle of a dirt road. So the helicopter sees my rooftop number, and I'm by myself. And he's like, turn left at the next road. I do. And he's like, as soon as you come to the stop sign, stop in the middle of the intersection. I said, no problem. Stop. I look, and there's the suspect vehicle facing me. Guy's not in it. Suspect's on foot somewhere. So it ends up being a clusterfuck from hell. They land a helicopter near me. 2 SWAT guys get out, come behind my patrol car. Finally, more people start showing up, and then I unask myself out of it. And I end up running the command post on the north for where the suspect is. And he gets away that day. He never got out. He was always there. He was in the desert. There's tunnels out there, and he got in somewhere because we didn't get him for 6 days. But we ended up catching him. He got killed. SWAT shootout, 200 rounds fired, high-powered rounds. I got in the shooting in Compton where the kid was there, and we killed his dad. And then 3 weeks later, Deputy Sorensen got murdered, and that whole thing happened, and it occurred over a 6-day stretch before the final shootout where the suspect was killed. And then 3 weeks after that, my team, we were helping out. I was still a gang enforcement deputy. I was not a detective yet. My team was helping out detectives with a search warrant in Palmdale. And we kind of approached it half-assed. It was kind of a joke. It was like a strong-arm robbery. A library card was stolen. The detective found out who it was that did it, and it was like a kind of a half-assed, let's go hit this pad. The gang was pretty active at the time. He was a gang member. And I knew all of them. And I knew that the actual guy that we were going after.
Okay.
But didn't expect what we had. We ate donuts, at the fire station in the morning, which none of us ever ate donuts. It's the funniest thing with cops. And, I hated donuts, But we're all shucking and jiving and talking shit and joking around. And we pull up to the house after the fire station, after we briefed. And we're kind of almost in front of the house. Tactically, it was a fucking nightmare. It was one of those things this is already going shitty, but all right, it's a bullshit warrant kind of a thing. And my job on our team was I was the battering ram. A 50-pound ram. That was my job. I knew what it was. I hit the door. I step out, toss the ram out of the way so nobody trips on it. And now I'm number 6 into the house kind of a thing. And so knock and notice. I hit the door. The door frame splinters. Lock goes across the front room. The door's open. I step back and I toss the ram. As soon as I do, shots fired like crazy.
From inside or outside?
We didn't know where it was coming from initially. So my team's now up at the front door but not breaching because there's rounds being fired. And now I can tell it's coming off to my left, and I know we got containment right by the garage. We're kind of close to the garage. So I know I'm last man now going in the door. So I go across the front of the garage to my team over there, the 2 guys that are there, and they're firing at the suspect. He jumped out a second-story window with a gun, landed in a chicken coop, and he's pointing the gun and he's squeezing the trigger. He had a single-action .22. It never fired a round. Not one round did he fire. He thought he was firing, but he couldn't figure out why the gun wasn't working. He had to cock it in order to fire it. And so they're dumping rounds on him. He makes it into the backyard on the 3 side of the house, and our other containment sees him pointing a gun towards our deputies, so they start dumping on him, and they killed him in the backyard. So word quickly traveled that I was the one that killed him, even though I didn't pull the trigger. And so my name got scrawled on the walls, get fuck Gillis and all this stuff, because they all knew I was there. His sister told everybody I was there, or maybe somebody drove by. Fact remained, I didn't even shoot him. I battering rammed the door, and then I put all the radio traffic and coordinated containment of the area. But I got the jacket if I killed him, right?
From the gang.
From the gang. So
what's that feel like?
Yes.
Knowing that you're public enemy number one.
There was a stolen car got dumped out in Lake LA one time, and they scrawled across the hood of the stolen car, "Fuck Gillis." They graffitied the whole hood of the car. They knew me. Like I said, I had a lot of snitches and stuff out there. So not every gang member loved me. There was definitely ones that didn't. But
so within a matter of weeks,
it went. Yeah. So
you're dealing with a lot of death, a lot of shootings, just over and over and over again.
So about 3 months after that shooting is when I got into my next one with the 2 guys in Compton that I talked about with those pictures. I was kind of on a downward spiral at the time. I was coping with alcohol. I was living in the guest room of my own house. My ex-wife and I weren't getting along at all in that period of my life. That was back in 03, 04. I had been living in the guest room since 2001 because I had a daughter, and I didn't want to be told when I could see her or couldn't see her. I was gone a lot, and so I was drinking a lot. And, being in those incidents, not having anybody at home to really talk to. I don't have brothers and sisters. I'm an only child. I'm not going to talk to my mom about that shit. I'm a grown-ass man now.
Yep.
Who do you talk to? You talk to your boys, your fellow coworkers, your teammates.
And you can't go to the department because this is one of the craziest things that I try to wrap my head around as a non-law enforcement officer is you just went through 3, 4, 5 shootings within a couple months of each other where somebody was almost killed in every scenario.
Or was, yeah.
Or it was killed in every scenario. And cops can't even go to their department and be like, yo, I'm struggling, chief. Because then you're labeled.
you're labeled, and they're going to take your gun and your badge.
And now you're a risk to the department. Even though you just did your job that they had you go and do, you can't even get any help or go to the department. I know there's some departments that are different. Things are changing now. But I mean, God, look what we were setting our guys up with.
So I got to backtrack just a little bit because it'll just tie into what happened. But so my first shooting with the kid, the dad in front of his kid. So I had never been in a shooting where I dropped a hammer and actually killed somebody until that night. I didn't know what to expect or how to feel or what was right, what was wrong. Replaying it over my head a million times and tunnel vision. I didn't hear the shots even being fired. I kept replaying it over and over, like, what could I have done better? What could I have done different? Did I have to shoot him? I hear the kid telling me, stop killing my dad. It was just playing ad nauseum in my head. And so before you can go back to work, you have to go see a psych, which is what you're talking about, department psych.
Yep.
And so I called my sergeant. I'm like, hey, I need to get back to work. I'm like, I don't want to be off. I want to get a normal shift under my belt. I want to go 10-8 and just let's go eat. Let's go work out because we did every shift.
Get your mind off of it.
Let's just go 10-8. We'll do some traffic stops and just get back in the groove. And my sergeant's like, well, I don't know if you have to do 3 days or 5 days. And I'm like, well, I'll call the union. So the union says you do 3 days, you're good as long as you see the psych and get signed off. So I go to the psych and I do the whole what we do. I'm good, no issues. I did what I had to do. It was justified. I know it was justified. I feel like shit about it. I wish I didn't. It was an overtime shift. I wish I didn't work overtime that night, but I can't change it. And he determined how the outcome came out, not me. He did. And so I get signed off. So I go back to work in 3 days from the shooting. I'm 10-8 patrol car. And I tell my partner, let's just go 10-8. Let's go do our workout or eat. And let's go check out this one house they were dumping stolen cars at. It was a gang called Latin Times Pacoima. And I said, let's go check out that pad and maybe we'll jam a couple gangsters, get a gun or an FI card or whatever, and let's just get back in the groove. So my partner, Drew, at the time was like, let's do it. So we do our workout, we eat, and turn the corner, and there's 4 gangsters posted up by a car. And so we jump out, and they all give the oh shit look, but nobody runs. And Drew's got 3 over here at gunpoint, and I got the guy by my left front fender at gunpoint. And as soon as he sees me, he puts his hand in his pocket like this. And I knew him, and I can't tell you his nickname today, and I can't remember it for the life of me. I try to remember him, but I can't. He was Latin Times Pacoima gang member. But so I draw down, show me your fucking hands, show me your fucking hands. And he's calling me by name. He's like, man, Gillis, fuck Gillis. And whatever his nickname was, I called him by it that time. I'm like, don't do it, man. Just show me your hands. Show me your fucking hands. This is 3 days after my shooting. And so the other guys are listening to Drew. We put out a help call. Everybody's coming. We can hear the sirens. They're all coming. And this dude, he's like looking around. He's got his hand in his pocket still. He's like, look, I go, don't fucking do it, dude. I'm going to fucking kill you. I'll fucking kill you. He's like, fuck, Gillis, fuck. And he slowly pulls his hand out of his pocket. And all the troops show up. The cavalry's there. He gets down on his knees. I go up there, freaking hook him up, loaded 38 in his pocket. And I said, dude, I was going to fucking kill you. He goes, I know you were going to kill me. He goes, I know. We'd never had a bad dealing. He's a gangster. Back to that respect thing. We had respect. We're all good. I was coming at him so hard and so foul. It scared the shit out of him. He said, I was going to toss it. He goes, I was going to pull it out and toss it and run. I said, I would have killed you. He goes, I know you would have. That's why I didn't do it. So it kind of had me a little rattled, right? I was like, fuck, man, if I would have shot him, I would have been fucked. I found out we weren't supposed to be back to work for 5 days. I was back in 3. So I was already, the union gave me bad
killing
info.
2 people in 3 days?
The union gave me bad info, and I was back to work. So now I'm like, fuck. So now I started second guessing myself, right?
Oh my God.
So all these other things happened. Now
Do you think you hesitated at all?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you what happened worse. I'll get to that.
Okay.
So that's now, I talked about the incidents July, August, September, and then it jumped to January, the second shooting with the guys in Compton, the gangsters. And so now I know I got to do 5 days off, but I still want the same thing. I'm replaying it over my head. What could I have done differently? I thought I got shot. Oh, fuck. What if I'd have gotten killed, my kid? And what did I do wrong? And I dumped my magazine. Why did I dump my magazine? I knew I fired a lot. Like, there's bullet holes in my windshield. Just all of it, replaying over and over and over and over.
Yep.
And so I go to the psych. I'm all good. They decided, not me. Did what I had to do. Fine with it. It sucks. I wish I wasn't working the shift, but I was. All the same stuff. And I go back to work. And it's within a couple days of being back to work, so like 5, 7, 6, somewhere in that day range later, in Palmdale, drive up, chippies are on scene, the CHP. There's a guy down on the ground. He's bleeding from the head. He's unconscious. I said, what happened? They said he got beat down. The two guys, they just ran around the corner over there. 2 black dudes wearing all red. Okay, I get on the radio, put out a crime broadcast, and my partner and I drive over there. Chippy's got this dude. Medics are coming. I turn the corner, 2 homeboys going down the street. See him on foot. Pull up. We both get out, and we're drawing on him. Show us your hands. The one dude immediately lays down, and my partner hooks him. The other dude keeps walking. He's like 6'5", dressed all red, blood gang member, red hat, red shirt, black pants, red shoelaces on his shoes, red belt, straight blood.
Yeah.
And he's walking, and he's looking back, man, fuck you. Man, fuck you. And now we're away from our car. We gave up tactical position because he's hooking him, and now I'm on foot on the dude, you know, and he's like, man, and he stops. And he looks back at me, and he looks forward, and he goes, fuck it. And he fucking pulls out a gun, and he turns towards me with the gun coming up, and I can see it in slow motion. And in that fraction of a second was, I'm going to lose my job. Not that I'm going to get killed, not that my partner's going to get killed.
Damn.
I'm going to get in trouble. Because here I am again. I just gotten my second one in 5 months. All this other shit's happened, and now I'm fucked if I drop this dude. And that was what was going through my mind. And he fucking looked at me, the gun comes up, and instead of firing, he chucks it at me. And it goes ka-clank, ka-clank, ka-clank in the street, and he gets down on the ground.
Bro.
And so we run and jump on him, and my partner's hooking him up, and I look down because I'm still pointing my gun at him until it's code 4, he's in custody, right? My hammer's all the way back. It was a single action, my Beretta. I pulled the trigger. I just didn't pull it hard enough. That fraction of a whatever hesitation it was, I didn't drop it. I got lucky, and I could have gotten killed. So I was shook up from it. That incident shook me up.
Yeah.
And so afterwards, I told my partner, I'm like, dude, I could have fucked this, because he couldn't see the angle. He was back here. I was pied off.
Yeah.
So it was straight towards me because I was in the street, and I was like, man. So we were back at the station. We're handling booking and evidence and stuff. I was shook up. I'm like, fuck, man, what the fuck? Why did I fucking hesitate? Like, my mind's fucked up now. Like, I was second guessing, and I was prideful in my job. Like, I did a great job. I was safe. We trained all the time. We did entry training all the time. We trained with our SWAT team, all kinds of stuff. And I fucking hesitated and almost died. Could have got my partner killed.
Yeah, for sure.
And so 3-4 hours later, we're at the station still, finishing, because I'm like, I don't want to go 10-8 tonight. Let's just stay here. What happens? Deputy gets on the radio. I'm taking rounds. So now we're rolling code 3 to a deputy taking rounds. He didn't get hit. And it came from an apartment complex across the field. He had done a traffic stop out on Sierra Highway. There was a car lot. Guys shooting at him from across from the apartment complex. Doesn't see who it is. Just rounds are coming. And so we roll into the apartment complex. We bail out of the car, and we're looking for the suspect. And I'm still thinking about what just happened earlier in the shift. Like, what am I doing out here? Like, if I find him right now, what am I going to do? Am I going to fucking shoot this guy? Like, what am I going to do? And all this second guessing.
Yeah.
So we didn't find the dude. It was code 4. Deputy didn't get hit. And I went back to the station. I told my sergeant, I need a week off. I got to take a break. I don't have a choice. And I took a week or 2 off. I burned vacation time.
Yeah. Did that
but
even
I was
help?
drinking a lot. I was drinking. That's how I was coping. And, I was still hanging out with the fellas. I just wasn't pushing the car. I wasn't going to. It was my choice. I pulled myself out.
Are you divorced at this point?
No, still living guest room. Still living in my guest room.
So your life at home is shit.
Yeah.
You've gotten shootouts, shot a couple people within 6-7 months, almost got shot, almost got your partner killed by hesitating, and yourself.
Yep.
And now you're feeling it.
Yeah, now I'm drinking like crazy. So we there's a lieutenant that we all loved, female lieutenant. She was transferring to another station from ours. And so there was a party, typical. So we're drinking. And of course, I'm drinking and driving, And so I'm at the party for, I don't know, it was at a Chili's restaurant. We were there for maybe 2 or 3 hours drinking. Night shift was starting, so the people that were at the party that had to work, that weren't drinking, left. They all went to work. And now there's going to be an after party at a pool hall bar after the Chili's bar. So I leave to go to that. And as I'm driving out of the parking lot, it's misting outside. The car in front of me stops at the yellow light, and I bumper tap him. at like 2 miles an hour, literal bumper tap. And so backseat passenger gets out and he knows me as a gangster. What the fuck, Gillis? And here I am, plain clothes, been drinking. And
No.
so he's like motherfucking me. And so what do? I call the station. I'm like, hey, it's Gillis. I was just involved in a minor TC. There's no injuries. It's just minor. This is where we're at. Can you send somebody out here? So he's still talking shit. A unit shows up, but it's not the handling unit. I'm like, where the fuck is the handling unit? So I call the station again. I'm like, it was Guevara was the guy's name.
Were you nervous when this unit showed up because you had alcohol in you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so you're trying to cover your ass at this
No,
point?
I wasn't.
Oh,
no,
okay.
no. So Guevara, who was a guy that was known that he'll arrest everybody. He'll take cops. He doesn't care. But I got along great with him, and I helped him on so much stuff. I'm like, I'm glad he's coming. At least he'll be fair to me no matter what happens. And so he's not showing up. So I'm like, where is he at? He's 10-minute ETA. 10 minutes goes by, he's still not there. So I pull out my radio because I had all my gear because we'd done a warrant that day. And so I get him on LTAC, and I'm like, hey, this is where we're at. We had to pull out of the street. We're in the Cupid's parking lot. He's like, all right, I'll be there in a couple minutes. So he shows up. He sees that I'm Deuce, and he tells the sergeant, I ain't doing it. That's how much he liked me. He left. He left the scene. He's like, I'm not doing this. And he was a hardcore take everybody to jail for DUI. He was the DUI god of the Valley. And so like 3 other deputies show up, and the sergeant's trying to get any one of them to take me, and they're all like, we're not taking him. This guy's been through hell and back, and everybody knew like the stuff that so they were trying to help me, and they're not trying to be dirty. They should give me the same love that they'd give anybody who was involved in the same situation, but at the same time they were trying to take care of. They knew I'd been involved in hell.
Yeah, that's kind of a unique situation. I'm not justifying it, but you're dealing with shit and you have no resources to deal with it. So, but it doesn't obviously justify drinking and driving. So,
but my thing there is that from minute one, I'm Deuce. And so this one deputy shows up. He was a deputy that not many people liked. I got along with him, but he was just kind of like a zero kind of a dude. And he's like, will you be willing to blow in the pads? I said, whatever you ask me to do, I'm rolling with it. It's all my bad, my fault. It's all on me.
You can do at this point.
It's all on me. Whatever you tell me or ask me to do, no problem. So I blow in the pads, and I blew a 1.6. I was double the legal limit. But I had been drinking so much that my tolerance level was high. Like I was a 1.6 and I was deuced, but I wasn't like, I was just probably standard operating, for my off-duty time.
Oh my God.
Like we were just all drinking at the time, like all the time.
Yeah.
And so we end up, the sergeant's like, dude, I'm just going to ride with me up to the station. We'll process you through. And I'm like, okay, well, while we're doing that, there's a drive-by shooting in my area. And so they had taken my truck keys, and the field sergeant had my truck keys that went to the murder scene. It was a murder. And so I go up to the station. The jailer sees me coming in, and I'm the bad guy tonight, right? How embarrassing. You talk about disgusting feeling for myself. That's how I felt. I felt disgusted with myself. Like, what the hell? I'm no different than anybody out here who I'm chasing. I'm no better, and it was a real humbling experience. But so the jailer sees it's me, and she realizes that the deputy bringing me in isn't certified on the intox. He has her do all of his stuff when he comes in. She loves me. I'm booking in there all the time. She's like, I ain't fucking doing it. So she goes to the watch commander and says, he can do his own intox tonight. I'm not doing it. So I'm sitting there, and he's fumbling with the intox and trying to figure out how to make it work. Nothing's getting done. And I go, bro, give me your pen. So he gives me his pen. I fill out my entire booking packet. I filled out the paperwork of my own booking packet. I even took the stat for the arrest because we have arresting codes and 20.
It's wild chaos, bro.
Yeah.
You're filling out your own paperwork.
My own booking packet. Yep. So 2604 was our...
screwed it all up just to get it thrown out.
I didn't have to. So 2604 was our agency arresting code for gang unit for our station. I took the stat for my own arrest. I put my arrest code in there on my own booking packet.
Oh my God.
And so fast forward, a judge friend of mine who was a gang prosecutor, now a judge, says, I got a buddy who'll represent you. He'll give you a good break, and you're a good dude, and we know everything that's gone on, and we'll take care of you. It's okay. So now I got to get a criminal defense attorney. You want to talk about embarrassing? I felt like a piece of shit, And so this goes back to like my growing up, and I wasn't spoon-fed, and so I've seen all sides of things. That's what made me more compassionate towards a lot of things in life. So I get the reports, and The deputy lied in the report. Right down to the fact that he took the time to write the paragraph that he completed all necessary booking paperwork, which is all in my writing. Why did he even write that, right? So, but he put in the report that my speech was so incoherent that field sobriety tests weren't needed. Now, I blew a 1.6. I'm not saying I wasn't deuced. I am all about it. I was deuced. They saved my life that night.
So you're so intoxicated that he's saying that you can't speak correctly.
Correct.
But you filled out your own paperwork in the jail for him.
Well, here's what's worse for him, for this deputy. I called the station twice and there were recorded phone calls, and I got on the radio, went to an LTAC frequency and told the deputy where we were.
So they have now audio recording of your voice that he's now lying. Why would he lie?
Lazy, cookie cutter, wanted to get through it, just did check the box and put the blanket things just to get the probable cause to push it through. Yeah. So it's just, it pissed me off more than anything. I'm like, why the fuck would he just not say, I blew a 1.6 on the pass. It is what it is. I'm deuced. He saved my life that night. Like that incident happened to save my life. That was the good Lord watching over me, saying, dude, you're at the end of your rope.
100%.
You're going to kill yourself or somebody else,
100%.
and it's time to change your life. And that's when I did. But I never, ever said I wasn't deuced. And I threw myself on the sword with everybody because I wanted...
You have to.
I wanted people that are going through it to know they're not alone. And I wanted people going through it to know they're playing on borrowed time, that if it could happen to me, it could happen to them. And I wanted people to know that it's okay to ask for help or to say you have a problem.
For sure.
And so that's
Which
why
most don't.
I embraced it. Like, I'm willing to talk about it to anybody, anywhere, anytime, but I wasn't willing to get lied on. That pissed me off more than anything. And when I got the radio traffic and the phone calls, and I'm talking to you like I am now, and he's saying that FSTs aren't needed because I'm so incoherent, the number says I'm incoherent, right? 0.16, but when my alcohol tolerance was higher because we were drinking all the time, it was laziness. And he wasn't certified on the intox, so it got thrown out. So, but the DA's like, look, I don't want deputies testifying as deputies. What do we got to do to make this case go away? And my attorney said, he ain't taking a wet reckless either. This case is trashed. And the DA's like, I agree. He goes, let me ask you something. He goes, will you take just a straight reckless driving, like you shouldn't have been driving or you were driving too fast or whatever? But if I make you go to 6 AA meetings, will you go? And I said, absolutely. I go, I have no problem because I was wrong.
Absolutely.
I've always said I was wrong. So the part that I left out in all of it goes back to what I was telling you about earlier, and I kind of took the story out of context earlier, but the drive-by shooting murder was Gustavo Ceballos getting murdered in that drive-by shooting that night. And so my gang sergeant, took me to the scene of the murder to get my keys from the sergeant so I get my house when I got taken home. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning. The sun's coming at 5:30 in the morning. And the deputies on scene are like, hey, Gillis, can you at least do us a favor and look at this guy and tell us if you know who he is? And I walked over and looked, and it was Gustavo. And I told him, this is who he is. This is who he hangs out with. This is where they live. This is what kind of cars they drive. We had it all sewed up that night. But I couldn't stay to help.
Yeah.
Because here I was in my own trouble, getting popped for a DUI that night, being a fucking dumbass, drinking and driving. How many times do drunk drivers drink and drive before they get caught or they kill themselves or somebody else? Too many times to count. I'm a big advocate against it. And it's not that I'm a hypocrite. It's that I've lived it and I know, so you can't fucking bullshit me.
Yeah.
So that night, here I end up at a murder scene, and they're immediately, hey, can you help us on the murder scene? And I had just gotten in my own trouble. And here I am trying to help them on the murder. So
that is the wildest 24 hours.
Oh, fuck.
You go from
crazy
party in 24 hours. Let me
search warrant.
You served a search warrant that morning, went to a transfer party that evening, got drunk, ran into the back of a gang member's car, got arrested for a DUI. The cop lied on your report.
Yep.
Someone had your keys that was at a murder scene that night that they had to drive you to, and you knew the guy that was murdered. Mm-hmm. And then they asked you for help on this crime scene, all within 24 hours.
Yep.
You're 100% a shit magnet, 100%.
But that night I was a piece of shit magnet, right? Because I felt like a piece of shit.
Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I give it to you though. That's when I have a problem when I see these cops and like these chiefs that come up to scenes and they're wasted and they're like, "I'm fine," and it's clear. when you're caught like that, but then also at the same time, they're under the influence, so you're not thinking properly. But the only thing that you can do in that situation is take it on the chin. Mm-hmm. That's the only way for the footage, the evidence, the courts, what they're going to be watching is to know that, hey, this is a man that took responsibility. This is what he's been through. That was probably the best play that you could have done, has just been straight up with all of it. Because the second you start, hey, I'm good, let's cover this, or hey, I need help, you're done, because it just takes one person to, hey, this is what he was saying at this time. That doesn't make sense that the cop would lie like that on the report. I mean,
lazy.
Was he lazy, or was he trying to be a little bit vindictive? Or
maybe we weren't friends. I mean, he was,
because if he's writing lies in there, is that lazy, or is he just trying to burn another cop? Which I get; those cops are out there.
I don't think he knew there was radio traffic or phone traffic. He thought he'd get away with it. He thought it was just going to push it through and on to the next one. He didn't put the time or effort into it. It was just easy cookie cutter. Let's push it through and I'm on to the next one. Instead of realizing, do your fucking job, dude.
How many cops are treating all the civilians like that, though? Was that kind of an aha moment for you? Like, if he's doing that to another officer, how many of these people are really innocent that he's lying on their reports?
It pissed me off. Because here's the thing for me. I always told guys that I worked with on my teams, or guys that worked for me when I was a supervisor, don't ever fucking lie to me. And no arrest is worth your family, your faith, your freedom, your nothing, your fortune, nothing. There's no arrest worth it, ever. Mm-mm. I don't care what the guy did. Killed your partner. You got to do what you got to do, and if it's justified, you handle business. Mm-hmm. But if it's not there, if you didn't find the gun, if you don't know, like, if the gun's over there and you're going to try and say it, no, there's no arrest worth moving evidence or lying in a report. It's just not. It's stupid. So that's my biggest problem with it. When it got light on me, I was like, oh, fuck no. You hear about it, people, fucking dirty, corrupt cops. And I don't even think he was corrupt. I think he was fucking lazy. And I thought he didn't know that shit existed. He knew that I blew a .16, which is deuced, double.
For sure.
.08's, legally drunk. And my tolerance was high. And I don't know, maybe I was on the upswing or the downswing or, whatever at the time when I blew in that Paz.
You got lucky.
Yeah. Well, I got lucky I didn't hurt myself or somebody else, I got lucky for that reason. Mm-hmm. And so from that point on, I decided I was going to preach it to people. Like, don't fucking drink and drive. It's not worth it. And now it's like the rideshare apps and everything else. Like a deuce just killed somebody over here on 184 night before last.
Oh, really?
Yeah, hit a car and flipped it, and girl inside died just a couple nights ago. The DUI thing is huge. It really pisses me off.
Scares me. It terrifies me, especially having a teenage daughter on the road. That's why I always tell her, I'm like, hey, I know I'm dad, and you're never going to listen to me. I'm like, name me one good thing that happens after 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Just give me, and I'll bend the rules. Obviously she's her own little adult now, so she gets to do it, not whatever she wants, but we still have rules in this house. But it's one of those things, like, okay, like, do you need to be driving at these hours when the bars are letting out? Like, those are the things that I'm so paranoid about, because I've seen so much of it. I have so many buddies, God, that have lost everything over a couple of drinks. And it's just, thank God, I'm not a drinker anymore. But those years are way behind me. But it's just not even worth it, man. It's not even worth it.
It's not worth the problems it causes in your family, in your personal life, at your work. It's just not. That for me was 22 years ago.
Yeah.
It was in 2004, so 22 years ago. But I felt like a piece of shit, and I can still remember what it felt like back then. To have people in my own agency looking at me, oh, that's, and I wasn't the first, and I wasn't the last.
Was it embarrassing?
Oh yeah.
How long were you embarrassed about that?
Forever.
Because it's almost a scarlet letter that you got caught up.
Yeah.
But, see, and that sucks, because all the good that you've done, all the gangs, all the arrests, all the murders you put away.
One bad thing, yeah. And the thing that I heard, though, from a lot of people was, you just got caught. They're all freaking drinking and driving.
Yeah.
People are all over the place. I just got caught. So when I was beating myself up, hammering myself like I'm a piece of shit and stuff, I would tell people, like, don't feel like a piece of shit like I do. Everybody's like, dude, don't be so hard on yourself. Like, everybody drinks and, like, not condoning it, but just like, you just got caught. And it's like, yeah, but I got caught for a reason, because when you look at the totality of my life at that point, it saved my life. It really did.
100%. You didn't see that probably at the time.
I did. I knew I was in a downward spiral.
For sure.
I knew I was.
I mean, what what was the thought process of you shoot this dude in his front yard and his kid's tugging on your shirt to stop shooting his dad? Like, how are you supposed to process it as a cop? Justified or not, even say suicide by cop. How do you just go back to work? And how do these law enforcement officers, after you just ended... This is the problem where I think a lot of civilians are disconnected. Like, you see it's justified, and not even the civilians, the cop sides. Cops will play it was justified, so that's how they move on with their life. You took somebody's life. It doesn't matter if it's justified or not. You killed somebody. That's heavy. I don't care if the dude's running at you with pulls a pistol, comes at you with a knife, whatever. You squeezing that trigger, and you can see impacts, and somebody dumps in their front lawn. Dude, that's a brain split. You're not just like, oh man, it was justified, just doing my job, right, boys, right? You know, good job, Gillis. You put one down. That's not how that shit works in your mind.
No, and it's not like TV. You go back to work the next shift and get another one, and another one, and another one. Like these episodes of Chicago PD, they're in a shooting every episode. You know, that's not real life. You know, and the agencies, you know, when you get into one or you get into two, I got warned after my second one, you better not get in another one. They'll pull you off the teams. And I'm like, well, like I'm out there chasing the worst of the worst, the bad guys, and now I got to have that. I'm going to lose my career, even if it's justified. They don't care because of the perception that you're a heavy, that you're quick to pull the gun, you're quick. And once you get into one, you're going to get into another one. That's pretty much what the stats show. Within a short period of time, once you shoot, you're going to get in another shooting.
Interesting.
So, like, it wasn't.
But then how do you? Okay, then as you're a cop and you've been in 2 shootings, your department tells you, yo, get another one, you're done. That plants a seed. Do you hesitate now and let your partner shoot first, then you're backing him up? Is that what goes through your mind at that time? I mean, how do you...
I don't know, man.
How do you process... How do you even be a cop at that point? If
you could probably talk to all the people you've interviewed and the ones that'll come after me from law enforcement, and I guarantee that every one of us could probably have been in 100 shootings or more.
For sure.
You know, and why we didn't, the luck that we've had, the things on our side, the good Lord watching over us or whatever. I could talk about a couple other stories that I should have shot and didn't, and I got lucky. You know, if you were to go through your career, 5, 10 shooting, 15 shooting, no, bullshit. You're never going to last. They won't allow you. The departments will not allow that to happen.
You're just a
They're going to
liability at
bench
that
you.
point.
It doesn't matter if it's legit. It doesn't matter if you're out there chasing the worst.
It's the image.
Yeah. Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're out here hunting gangs and just on a gang task force unit, which is the worst of the worst in your guys' little beats, and you're not supposed to be able to engage these guys because you've already done it twice. And you did it early in your career, too. So now you have the rest of your career to ride out without getting in a shooting that's in the back of your head.
And that's what I'm saying. There was some bad stuff I got into that I got lucky.
Okay, what's a time that you should have shot somebody and you didn't?
It was in 04. It was the same year of my shooting in Compton with the 2 guys in the red BMW. I worked an overtime shift, and I got to Compton. It was about 11 o'clock at night. There had been a drive-by shooting murder on 151st Street, 151 Pyru. Nope, it was CV 155 was the gang that got hit, and I didn't know if it was 151 Pyru that shot him, but it was black and Hispanic gang war. And so I didn't go to the murder scene. It was already going on when I was coming into the city. I went to the station. They canceled briefing, told us to go 10-8. So there was calls all stacked up. They said, just go handle calls. Don't get involved in it. Okay. So there's a burglary alarm at a business on Avalon, and it was about 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning, graveyard shift.
Yep.
And the handling unit tells me take the rear. It's an apartment complex. So the apartment complex kind of sitting up above a little bit, and the businesses are commercial down below on Avalon Boulevard, and that's where the alarm's at. So I pull into the apartment complex where I'm told to go on rear containment for a burglar alarm, which is like a routine call, nothing crazy. It's not a burglary in progress, but you treat it like that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you always treat it like that, but it wasn't like we got dudes in there rummaging or broken glass. It wasn't even that. It was just a standard 459 alarm. And so I pull into the back parking lot, and as I come in, I'm blacked out, headlights off on my patrol car, 1-man unit in Compton, now about 1 o'clock-ish in the morning, 12:30, and I see a black dude. And he's about 15 car lengths down, standing by a carport. And he sees me, he looks at me, and I'm coming in blacked out because you can still hear my engine. He looks at me, and he looks like this, and looks back at me, and then he turns and he starts to walk. So I punch it, I fly up, I'm thinking he's part of the burg, right? It's right on the other side of the fence. So I fly up on him, I bail out, and as soon as I bail out, he starts running. He's got a Tech 9 in his hand. But he's running from me, not towards me, from me. So he starts going between 2 apartment buildings. And right as I bail out, I key my mic that I'm going to go in foot pursuit, 417 set, which is our code for man with a gun. And I key the mic, and I'm already gunning, my right hand is holding my gun. And I see him running, and something catches the corner of my eye. I look like this, and I double take to my right, and there's a car backed in, so I'm teed up on this car. This is me pulling up. The guy's running that way. I start to go that way. There's a car teed up right here. And I see a guy getting out of this driver's seat. And what's he got? A rifle. And so I went, whoa! And I came across the hood. I'm like, and he clunk. The rifle goes to the ground. I hear it, the metal hit the ground. And he starts going that way. So I'm like, well, fuck that. I'm going for this dude. So I go in foot pursuit of this guy. I put it out, chase him along the fence line. There's a hole at the end of the fence line. It's wrought iron pole missing, so we go through the hole in the fence into a field. I'm in great shape because I'm working out all the time, running all the time, younger. And chase him into the field. He gets about halfway across the field and gives up, lays down. He's drunk, gloves, black gangster. He was a Campanella Park blood. And I hook him up, and the helicopter's now overhead, so we're under the spotlight like on TV, you know, and people are trying to find me, and I get other deputies run out in the field and get to me finally. Lift him up. The other guy's still in the wind, so we're setting up a containment. We didn't get him that night, but we got him later, got him ID'd. They were the murder suspects from the incident that happened when I was coming in. The car that was backed in was the suspect vehicle. The rifle that the dude dropped was the rifle used in the murder.
Holy shit.
He had me. He had the drop on me. When I pulled up to go after his homeboy, he had an AK-47 that he could have come up on me, and I was teed up. I had that 7.62 round would have tore through my passenger door or window or whatever, would have hit me. You know, and easily when I saw him coming out with the rifle, I could have just started plinking at him, and I didn't. Why? Because I was still in that mode. What you're talking about. I can't, like, you start feeling like, fuck, what if I do? What if I don't? What if maybe I can get away with not shooting? You know, you start what-ifing while it's happening. And I got lucky. We got him in custody. We got the guns. I got the other guy ID'd because I saw him close enough, and I was able to do a 6-pack and ID him. And they went to prison for the rest of their lives. But I got lucky I didn't get killed that night.
Yeah.
You know, and for what? For overtime pay, you know, because we all work overtime, right?
Bro, no offense to this, but fuck being a cop, man. Like, I've never heard an idiot, like, sat down with cops and be like, man, I really wish I should have been a cop. Yeah. It's terrifying. I mean, it's such a tough job. It's got to be the toughest job in this country, just to be able, everything that you're processing, and then the departments and the admin turning against, and then now you've got 2 shootings and you do it again. Now you're labeled. How do you do your job? How are you a police officer when your hands are tied so bad?
I feel so bad for the guys and girls that are out there still doing it. You know, like
you got the last of the good early days, like the old school. Yeah. You were probably coming in those early 2000s. That was probably like the old school LA where you were still able to, like, be a cop, do your job, put hands on, you know, you hear those old school stories. Yeah. So you probably saw the whole transition of LA during that time of, all right, this is cool. We get to come out here and crack skulls to, hey, gangbangers, how are you guys doing today? Like, are we good? You need anything? Yeah. It's just, I'm sure it's evolved so much.
It has. You know, it's funny because, like, every generation says, oh, I had it the worst. It was the busiest, the best. And the generation before me, they had it the best, right?
Yep.
And the generation before them had it even better. So it's just constantly, you know, I had a great time. I had a lot of bad times. You know, tomorrow is the 21-year anniversary of another friend of mine that was shot and killed by Hawaiian Gardens gangsters, Jerry Ortiz. He's also in the book.
You've lost a lot of friends.
January 24th of 2005, he got shot and killed, yeah. And so, I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff, too. Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of fun. There was a lot of laughs. We did a lot of good. We saved a lot of lives. But I wouldn't want to be out there in L.A. pushing a car, working gangs now. I wouldn't want to do it.
Why?
It's just so different. I mean, we're right now, like at the tail end of my career, even as a sergeant, I was still getting asked to come in and testify as a gang expert on cases, and I would still help out. I was still writing warrants as a sergeant. But I had the experience. But what I saw more and more going to court, we're getting accused of being a gang member on a lot of court cases now. were the gangsters because they found out that stations and units of assignment, much like the military, get inked for you worked a certain area. There's nicknames for, if you're a hard worker, if you're hooking and booking, you're taking care of business, you're not calling in sick, you don't complain, you work other people's shifts when they need a swap, you're just an all-around great team player, and you're a hard-ass worker, you handle business, you do your reports, you go to court, you're putting people in prison, you're taking guns off the street. That's what it's based on. And so they'll ask people, do you want to get inked to become part of that brotherhood at that station? Like you earned your station ink.
Huh.
It's gotten turned into you're a gang member now. If you have that tattoo, you're a gang member. And the definition of a gang, 3 or more members with a common sign or symbol that engage in a pattern of criminal activity. Well, you got 3 or more members, you got a common sign or symbol, but you don't engage in a pattern of criminal activity. You fight criminal activity. But they're trying to flip the script as defense attorneys, and it's stuck in court. So now everybody's getting accused of being a gang member that's doing proactive police work out there. You go sit in front of a jury.
California is a fucking circus.
That's why I wouldn't want to be out there working gangs now. I wouldn't want to do it.
Has the gang culture changed?
I can't speak for right today. I don't know what's going on personally today. It was changing in that the youngsters weren't listening to the OGs anymore.
Okay.
There was infighting amongst them. I don't know how it is right now with the Mafia, but what they said went. And if you had youngsters that didn't listen, they got handled. I don't know what it is now because it seems like more and more youngsters are doing their own program.
Okay, so if that's the case, then these little youngsters that are going against the OGs, does that branch off little mini gangs? And now you have these little micro gangs just popping up everywhere? Or do they get shut down pretty quick?
There's a lot of little gangs that are showing up and they're trying to make a name for themselves.
Yeah.
So they start doing more violence or more whatever to try to make that name. They start out as taggers or tag bangers, that type of stuff. And then they evolve and then they get pulled into a legitimate gang. They'll get brought in as a clique, like a subset of these other gangs.
Which just brings numbers to the main gang.
It does, but if they're falling under the Mexican Mafia, the rules of the Southern or the Northern Western Familia or whatever, there still are rules. And if that gang isn't paying taxes, but they're selling dope and they're doing dirt, they're going to get greenlit, and then you're going to start seeing them get whacked.
Got it.
So black gangs are a little looser with the BGF and Crips and Bloods and the different You get Crips fighting Crips and Bloods fighting Bloods, and then you got Crips and Bloods hanging out. And so the black gangs, to me, I worked them, but my forte was the Hispanics, the Southern Hispanics.
Okay, so you dealt with a lot of the Mexican Mafia. Was there ever anybody that you arrested and you could just see pure evil in them?
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember any of those guys?
Yeah.
Can you tell me about one?
Well, I mean, you get somebody who kills somebody and they don't even care. You're sitting there across the table like you and I are, closer than we are, and you're asking them about how they accidentally shot a kid or they killed somebody, and they don't even feel it. Like zero emotion on their face and zero remorse. And there's more of those than you would think.
Really?
One person I sat across the table from on a different topic, but when I was a sergeant at CJ, I was responsible on our floor. We had a hard row with only 5 cells in it, and one of those cells was Chester Turner, and he's the Southside Slayer, if you look him up. He was good for 14 murders. He got convicted of 10. He was at San Quentin death row. They got him on 4 more DNA. They brought him back to L.A., and I was a sergeant, so I talked to him all the time. And here you got this, you want to talk about evil, looking this guy in the face, and he's 6'5", 350-pound black dude, Hoover, gangster, and he was killing prostitutes in the 80s and 90s, and he's still hitting on DNA on cases. And we got along great. He respected me. He gave all kinds of deputies and shit problems, and they had to do cell extractions on him to get him to go to court and all kinds of chaos. And with me, he's totally cool. He told me, come up to San Quentin when I'm back up there and I'll talk to you. And I'm done with that shit. You know what I mean? But even that guy, I built a rapport with him, but he was the face of evil. His eyes, yeah, he's a black dude, but his eyes were black. Like you could see into the evil in his body, and he killed women like nothing. So
what's that like, sitting across a table from just an absolute murderer like that?
It's weird. I don't know. I mean, if you had other people on here who've talked about it, but you just kind of disconnect and you're in work mode. So you try not to really you see it and it's registering, but you're also not thinking about it because you're trying to get whatever you're trying to get, whether it's With him, it was just to build a rapport. I'm not trying to solve a murder with him. He's already on death row and coming down for other cases.
Okay.
It's more conversation and just building that rapport. When you're trying to solve a murder and you're trying to get a cop out, and you're trying to be friends with a murder suspect, and you're telling them you understand why they killed him, and you maybe even put your hand on their leg or on their shoulder, and you can relate, and it's not their fault, and it's a very different experience to try to relate to a murder suspect or a child molester or a rapist when you know you want to choke them out.
For sure.
You know they deserve the death penalty, but you can't. That's not your job. Your job is to build the case for the victim. You're working for the victim and their family right now. You can't allow your own personal animosity to get into it. You got to do the right thing and stay focused and tune out that evil that you see and still try to relate to them. You understand why they're attracted to little kids. You understand why they had to rape
God,
that
that's
chick.
got to be tough. I can mirror and match with the best of them, but when it's sitting across from somebody that's in the kids,
You know, the girl, he raped her, and you know, she dressed like that. You know, I get why you had to take that. I get, you know, you're sitting there trying to go down to their level to communicate with them, because if you try to communicate from your level as authority, you're going to get nowhere.
done immediately.
So you, with those evil people, and I look at the rapists and all that, the same evil.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because you're taking somebody's soul. When you rape them or you molest a child, like, you're taking their soul.
100%.
For life. It's a life sentence for that person.
100%.
And so when these people, they do it, and they do it again and again and again, I mean, you're facing evil every single time, and they don't give a shit. So
That's got to be really tough. I've never really thought that of sitting across. And have you ever asked anybody a question they were so blatant about the truth that it just shocked you on an answer?
yeah, it's happened. There's so many
I
cases.
know it's tough to go back all those years. And
Like, I've asked questions, and then they give it up, and then we'll leave, and I'll be like, holy fuck, I can't believe he just said it like it was no big deal. There have been cases. I just can't tell you right now.
yeah,
I mean, I handled hundreds and hundreds of cases, and that's,
is it fun?
Yeah, I mean, some of them are.
Is it fun sitting down across from somebody and just trying to play the game and this cat and mouse and get buddies with them, and then you get them to crack? It's a game at the end of the day. Is it
When they cop out and you built your case, it's the same as that lottery ticket when you see the latex sticking out of the dude's ass, right?
Okay.
You're making your case. You know, it's like, oh, fuck yeah, we got this guy. Whether it's you got him with dope sticking out of their ass or a weapon, or you solved a murder or a rape or whatever, that sense of accomplishment that you actually made a difference. Because this guy, the key is you're not lying on him. You're not fabricating evidence. You're not doing anything corrupt. They did the dirt.
for sure?
So when they give up the case, and you now know that at least it'll be one more asshole off the street that's not going to victimize somebody again, it's a fulfilling thing. And I think that's why we all do it. I think that however many people you interview from law enforcement, I think that when you get somebody and you got them dead to rights and they're dirty and they're done, it's like you can almost take a deep breath. Now, you know you're going to go through a court case and you're going to be called the liar and you're planted evidence and you cheated and steal and all the other bullshit. But to me, I always tune that stuff out. To me, it was like, whatever. I knew I did the right thing. I had nothing to worry about. I never had anything to worry about. I never had a case where I went home afterwards like, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have. I better worry. I better work. You know, they better not look into this. Or no, I never had to worry about that. If we lost a case on something, which was few and far between, it was something procedural that was done wrong. Like I had a traffic stop I did. This will tell you about my character and integrity. I was driving, partner, traffic stop, gang member, Cutlass Supreme, thumping music, tinted glass, window cracked this big. You can smell the marijuana pouring out of the car, and do a traffic stop on him. I walk up, the dude's in his pajamas, tops and bottoms, black gangster. This pocket right here in his pajama pants, or pajama top, he's got a fat roll in a Ziploc bag of weed. It's not the crime of the century. It's like, whatever. Dude. But he's DUI marijuana. He's smoking while he's got a blunt in the ashtray, and he's smoking and having a good old time thumping his music. And
I'll just let the old boy enjoy his day.
Parolee. So I get him out of the car and hook him up and hand him off to my partner. Search him for me. He's got that in the pocket. I'll take the car. So partner takes him, handles that. I start searching the car. He's got a loaded 45 under his front seat. He's a parolee, loaded, stolen 45 cal pistol, right? Gangster. So we got a gangster parolee with a gun. It's like a trifecta. And so that's all it was. There was nothing else really in the car, just that. Go back to the station. I wrote all reports in our car with that one partner. He didn't like writing. So I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'll write the report. You book the evidence and book the people. I'll take care of the paper. We're back out. I'm good at it. I'm fast at it. And so that night, I was tired. I'm like, dude, just write the paper. It's a cut and dry. I'll handle the booking. Give me a break on the paper. So he does. Fast forward. Prelims happen within 10 days, a preliminary hearing. So I go to court. My partner never showed up at court, ever. It's always me. So I go to court. I'm sitting there waiting to testify on the prelim, bring a copy of the report, and I'm reading it. And I'm like, this isn't what happened. The fuck?
No shit.
Chronologically, it was off, which is a big deal. And so I'm like, I got a problem with this. So I go to the prosecutor. I said, look, dude, this is a slam dunk. Gangster parolee, smoking weed, thumping music, tinted windows, got a stolen gun. Like, it's a slam dunk. But this isn't written right. I said, I can't testify to this. I'm not gonna. I said, there's no case worth me, my integrity on the stand. We'll get him next time. And the prosecutor's like, come on, Gillis. Like, this is fucking. I go, no, I'm not doing it. He's like, you serious? I said, yeah. I go, let's meet with the defense attorney. So we did. And I told the defense attorney exactly what I just told you. He's like, do you know how glad I am that you told me that? And I said, why? And he said, because I pulled your unit log. I said, and? He goes, you put in your report that you stopped the car because there was a warrant to the license plate. So if you ran a license plate, came back with $30K traffic warrant to the same guy. So he also had a warrant for his arrest. He goes, you put in your report that you pulled the car over because of the music and you ran the plate and you stopped him because of it and everything else. And I said, yeah, that's not how it happened. I go, I remember we didn't run that plate until later because we were on him so fast we didn't have time to run the plate. And he goes, I know. He goes, because you ran the gun like 15 minutes before you ran the plate.
Because we already had you guys.
Because we didn't run the license plate until everything was code 4, getting ready to tow the car because he was arrested. So you got to fill out the 180, the form, and you run the plate and put all the information on the report. And so my partner used it lazy, back to lazy, not corrupt. It was a justified everything. The guy we had probable cause. It was all clean and parolee and weed and gun, and it was good to go. Lazy puts that we stopped him for the warrant on the license plate and the thumping music. And I'm like, that's not how it happened. So no, cut him loose. And that from that moment on with that defense attorney, he never gave me a hard time in any case that we ever did.
Well, he probably knew you were going to be stand up.
He knew I would be stand up. And it sucked to let the guy go.
For sure.
But
do your job.
That's my thing. Exactly. Do it right.
Do it right the first time.
Do it right. So yeah, we kicked the dude loose.
You see a lot of movies, like especially these LA cop movies, where these guys are getting in shootouts every day, and it's just the most wildest, craziest shit you've ever seen. Did you ever experience anything as a gang, in the gang unit in LA that you thought was straight out of a movie?
My whole career was like that.
I mean, you've mentioned quite a few, but is there one that stuck out where just at the end you were just like, holy shit?
Yeah, I mean, we had some rolling crazy pursuits that were like that. Ones that went out into the desert and were like doing Dukes of Hazzard and ended in crashes and foot pursuits, and we're in a fisticuffs, in the middle of it all. The helicopter overhead, it's like you're in a movie. You see all those TV shows like that. I got into an incident one night on overtime. I got jumped on a traffic stop, by the way, in Watts.
Let's hear that.
Yeah. So I was by myself working a one-man car, Transit Services Bureau on overtime. I'm working the gang unit, but they were asking for people to work OT. I never wanted to be home. I'm making extra money, so it was a win-win for me. And so I do a traffic stop on a guy and a girl in a car at 103rd and Graham near the Jordan Downs housing projects. And I see when I'm walking up, the chick's driving, the guy in the front seat, and he like leans like he's stuffing something. We can see it all. Like you just get so used to your program.
Body
posture. So I can see he's stuffing something, but I pretend like I don't see it. Get her out of the car, sink her in my back seat, get him out of the car, search him, sink him in my back seat, and I walk back up to see what he stuffed. and it's a beer. It's all it is a beer. In Watts, it's all it is. I'm like, oh, this is nothing. And they were cool. They weren't being assholes or nothing. But I walk up, and I look under the seat. I see it's a beer, and I pull it out, and I hear footsteps. And so I take a step back, and I see a guy walking down the street past my traffic stop. He's smoking a cigarette. So I back up, and I tell him, just go on through, dude. You're good. Because I'm thinking I'm not going to let him pass behind me. So he like starts to go in front of me, and then he stops. He takes a hit off the cigarette, throws down. It's like, come on, motherfucker. And he just starts swinging on me. Nothing to do with my traffic stop. Nothing to do with it.
So he just woke up and chose violence.
So thank God I had put in OBS in my computer of a traffic stop, because sometimes we stop cars and we don't have a time to even put it. We put it in afterwards, like when we got them already detained or somebody else shows up or whatever. But I had put in an OBS in my computer of a traffic stop. And so now I'm in a fisticuffs and we're brawling, and I don't like, you probably feel the same way, you probably train. I want to get on the ground. I want to get him in a position of advantage. Sitting there duking it out, punching somebody in the head, you're going to break your hand. Yeah, it's going to be all bad. And so my microphone goes flying off my lapel, and it's dangling in this fight. And I'm hitting the E-trig on my portable, but nothing's happening. And so I key the mic a couple times on the portable, and I can hear the dispatcher saying 602 Adam, code 1602 Adam, what's your status? And then I hear him say, I believe 602 Adam's in a fight. And great dispatcher, like paying attention to business. And so I'm in LAPD's area, but it was the Blue Line train system went through LAPD through Watts, right by the Watts Towers, right there. And so I'm getting really tired. Probably 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes of this.
That's a long fight.
And finally, I put him in a carotid, and I put him out. And as soon as I put him out, and I could feel he's going limp, I let it go. Because I'm like, I don't really want to. I just want to get him to stop, and I'm getting fucking gassed. And I'm training at the time, like I'm in good shape, And I could hear the world coming. All the sirens are coming and shit. And I could tell my back's locked up, my low back, and so he starts to come to again, and I'm like, fucking
put him out. You go.
Put him out again, and finally everybody shows up, and I just kind of rolled off of him. And now arrows overhead. We've got the spotlight on all of us. And you're in Watts. And then talk about like feeling like you're in like a show or something.
Yeah.
And I rolled off of him, and they hook him up, and I'm like, fuck. I had to just lay there for a second before I could stand up. And when I stood up, my low back was all jacked up. I'm like, fuck me, because we all got bad backs and stuff, and shoulders and knees and everything else from the job. But that happened, and then not too long afterwards, another incident that was newsworthy that was on TV. Same unit, working overtime, same thing. And it was like 3 a.m, and I see a Camry come out of an area in Watts, blacked out, and 3 gangsters in it, black dudes. And I flip a U-turn on it, and we start taking fast turns. And we ended up by the 105 freeway at Central behind a gas station. I didn't even know what street I was on, but I had called out a couple streets so that they knew generally where I was. And I got them at gunpoint because we're in a cul-de-sac, and so I come right up to their front bumper, and they're sitting there talking, looking at me, and I'm crazy cop. I'm going to fucking kill all you motherfuckers. Go ahead, make a move. Let me. I'm going to fucking... Now, I hadn't been involved in a shooting. Was I involved in a shooting yet? No, it was in 2003, so it was before.
Is it scary? Sorry, keep going.
It's a long-winded story, but I'm going to cut it short. But 3 PJ Watts Crips. They had baseball bats, they had gloves, they had masks, they had jewelry, they had knives, no guns. Right front passenger had like 8 rocks of cocaine or 6 rocks of cocaine or something like that. But I just felt like these guys are good for something else. So I pulled teletypes countywide of anything involving a small red compact vehicle that night, anywhere in the county. And I found 6 reports, I think, or 5, something like that,
shit.
that were similar type vehicles. Okay. One of them was an assault with a deadly weapon that occurred in West Hollywood. So, and it was one of the reports I attached to my report that I thought detectives should look at it. And sure as shit, they had done a gay bashing in West Hollywood. It was the suspects. The baseball bat they used was the one that they hit the dude over the head. It was an actor named Trev Brody. It was national news. Caved his skull in. He had skull fracture. They ended up copping out. They went to prison over it. Not over the stolen car and the dope and the other. It was basically they got charged with attempted murder. And it was a gay bashing, a hate crime in West Hollywood they had done that night. So like a week later, I get a phone call. I'm at home. They're like, hey, can you get down to West Hollywood Station for a press conference? I'm like, for what? Those guys you got, they did the gay bashing in West Hollywood that had been all over the news for days. And I had got them that night, but nobody knew it was the same guys.
No shit.
So I went down to West Hollywood, got interviewed by the news, and it was national news because this gay actor got beat over the head with a baseball bat. But yeah, his name was Trev Brody, and so I went through the case through the courthouse in Beverly Hills, and the mayor of West Hollywood and the city council. Everybody wanted to give me awards, and you can come down here and stay with us. And I'm like, no, I'm cool on that stuff.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm not getting in bed with you creeps.
But it was just another one of those shifts that I found myself in the middle of fucking chaos, because I was looking for it. That's what it boils down to. If you're looking for it, you're going to find it, hopefully.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
Man, you have had a career. Holy shit. I'm sure we could have probably 5 podcasts just talking stories. And
I had death threats. Mafia found out where I lived.
Okay, that was okay, I was going to ask that, but I wasn't sure. Did you ever have threats on your family or anything, dealing with all these gangs? What's that like?
Scary.
Because they don't play.
No. And I still, to this day, I'm still strapped. If I'm doing my front yard, if I'm taking my trash cans to the curb, I'm still strapped. Basically, what happened was I was off, and I got called in by a deputy in patrol. They had tracked a LoJack to a house, and they found the stolen car. They could see it over the fence in the backyard. Car's there. They detained the gangster out front. He's on parole. They could do the parole search, but they said, look, we looked in there in the window. There's ammo on the floor. And I knew exactly who this dude was. He was a tax collector for the Mexican Mafia.
Oh,
and
shit.
He knew who I was, and I knew who he was. And I'm like, well, let's make it clean. I'll do a warrant. So I bang out a search warrant, get a hold of a judge. We own the house. We own the house. We own the backyard. We own the sheds. We own everything. So while I'm there, while everything's going on, guys in the back seat, deputies filling out the booking packet, talking to him. And apparently, as I walk by the car, he says something to the deputy about me, which the deputy doesn't tell me until like 2 hours later. He calls me up. He's like, hey, dude, FYI. What he said was, he knows where I live on the west side of town with my wife and daughter. He's seen me at my house. And I lived on the west side of town with my wife and daughter at the time. And it was very specific of where he saw me in the neighborhood behind the gas station. And so I was like, oh, fuck. What do I do with that? So I called Major Crimes Bureau up. They handle threats on cops. And I said, look, this guy's a tax collector for the Mafia. I did a warrant on his house. I was called in. Nothing shady. He just had a stolen car. And he had ammo, but there was no gun. We didn't find any dope. No money, no nothing. And I said, but he's saying this about me. And the Major Crimes guy's like, he's probably talking shit, but we'll look into it. I said, all right. He's like, just go about your business and I'll let you know. I said, all right. So like a week or so later, he calls me up. He's like, hey, the detective does. I said, what's up, sir? And he's like, you got anywhere you can go for a couple days? And I'm like, what's going on? And he goes, well, I got bad news. And I said, what's the bad news? He's like, a kite, which is those jail notes that I was telling you about early on in this interview, got intercepted at Men's Central Jail coming out of High Power, which is where the Mexican Mafia people are housed. Very influential inmates are housed in there. And there was a Mexican Mafia brother in there. And a kite came out of there. And it was a green light on me for what I did to see, which was the nickname. I won't say his name. But and so what it turned out was, homeboy, when I arrested him, he owed the Mafia $14,000 in tax money for him selling dope and doing his business. His cover story when he went into jail, because he knew he was fucked, is that I stole the money. And so that's the only thing he could do to protect himself. Well, that was immediately, well, if you cross them, you steal from them, of course they're going to put a hit on you. Like, you stole money from them. Like, I understand it. I totally get it. But it never happened. So it was like this dude was saving his own ass, fabricating this. And so they's like, you need to get out of town for a few days until we can figure this shit out. So I had to load up. At the time, I'm living in the guest room of my house, getting ready to move out. I have a motorhome. I put my ex-wife and my daughter in the motorhome, and we took off, and I went to a lake for about a week. And then they called me and said, you can come home now. We got protection set up. So I came home, and I had 4 unmarked, bearded out, tatted down OG cops protecting our house. They were on the street behind and next to. And then I had 2 more that would follow us everywhere I went. Like, my ex-wife would take my daughter to school. They'd follow her to school. I'd go get to the gas station. I'd have one pull up on each side of me at the gas station to watch my back so I could pump my own gas.
That sucks. Living like that's not fun.
Everywhere I went, grocery store, I had UCs were following me around to make sure nothing happened to me. And then it went on for a month. And in that time frame, the detectives worked with the mafia, with the main head dude, and pretty much like, you guys are going to fucking do this shit over this piece of shit that owed you money, and you think it's our guy that did it? Like, you want a fucking war. And the mafia brothers, like, we don't want the war. And he's like, well, we'll give him a pass on me, like giving me a pass like I did something wrong, so now I got a pass. But it was like, I think that they didn't want the war. Like, we own the county, not just the streets, but we run the jails.
Yeah.
Did they really want to be their business? They thrive on business. And I didn't do anything wrong. I did the right thing. Like, the dude fucked up. He had a stolen car with LoJack. Shame on him. And he had ammo. And he's a felon. He's on parole. Like, it's not my problem. That's his fucking problem.
Yeah, and then they're going to put the heat. They want the cop killer badge put on them and all the heat from that coming down.
So we went and we put a case on the dude for threats, and he ended up pleading out. He took 7 years state prison. He did 6.
Oh, no shit.
He did 6. He's out. When he got out, Major Crimes called me and said, hey, because I didn't live there. I was divorced by then. Get a hold of your ex-wife. Let her know, because she's still in the house. Let her know that this dude's out. Here's his picture.
You're like,
now.
yeah. I'll call the ex-wife. Okay.
Yeah. And I had somebody from CDC work the dude up, and I got a list of every single visitor the guy had, every phone call he had made, everything. So I had a full packet on him. And I sent the ex-wife photos, and pretty much Major Crime said if anybody anywhere near that house, cholo, youngster, because it would be a youngster that would come after you. It wouldn't be some OG. It's going to be some kid trying to earn his bones, right?
Yeah.
Handle business. And if that dude ever shows up anywhere you are, take him out. That's what Major Crimes told me. Take him out. That dude should never show up anywhere you are. And CDC put a thing on him. He couldn't be within 50 miles of me when he got released on parole. But he got close, but he didn't get me. But he's out. Last time I checked, he's out, and he went into SNY. So he was like a debriefer, or he's trying to check out from the mafia and snitch on, I don't know what. You go into SNY, I think Hector talked about SNY yards. You get guys that check in and they roll it up. They don't want to be active anymore. They go into that.
How, though? I mean, is that even realistic? You're going to get caught at some
So
point.
in the meantime, my buddy Mike, he told me, he's like, for the rest of your life, just know it's always there. And just because they say you're good doesn't mean you are. And so I'm like, okay. So I kind of lived my life like that. But within the last 4 years, that Mexican Mafia brother got whacked by fellow Mafia members in prison. His right-hand man got whacked. His wife got whacked. And the guy that threatened me checked in. So I feel fairly confident that, number one, it was all bullshit. That's not me. I'm not a dirty cop. Never was. That guy fucked up. He got caught slipping. And I think that our guys did a good job of proving that was exactly what happened. But I still am a little, makes you feel a little bit like, all right.
For sure.
And if it's not them, it could be anybody else. You just always have to know. Like, the type of cases I've been involved in, even coming on this podcast, who knows who watches this shit.
For sure.
But yeah, I'm always head on a svivel, even now.
Have to be. Let's shift gears a little bit. I want to talk to what you're doing now. Before this conversation, you brought up that you were one of two that helped pass the law, or the new law here in Idaho, that now all child predator rapists are going to get the death penalty. Let's talk about that. That was a huge thing. You see it all over TikTok, all over Instagram. Idaho's doing it right. Idaho's doing it right. You get caught, molesting a child, you're getting the firing squad, and that's because of you.
Partly, yeah. Team concept, yeah.
But you led. I mean, you're tip of the spear on this. What was that like? Where did this come from?
So what happened was I've testified on a lot of stuff in front of the House and Senate here. A lot of law enforcement related stuff, fentanyl trafficking. Testified on swatting, on DUI manslaughter cases, not cases, but statutes.
Okay.
On immigration reform, pretty much anything that touches into a law enforcement realm, I try to support them. The fourth waiver for search and seizure. So in the middle of all this stuff, I worked some child sex crimes. My wife was a child sex crimes detective for about 10 years. She brought that shit home all the time. She worked on the Gabriel Fernandez case it's all over, it was national news.
No shit.
Yeah, she was part of that case. And so she'd bring a lot of the stuff home on child abuse and child sexual abuse. So I got to also doing it at work, but hearing that side of her cases made an impact on me. And So I was at the Capitol, sitting up in the audience, and they were debating some other bills, and a state representative who was down there, had my cell phone number, texted me and said, as soon as we're done, meet me downstairs ASAP. I said, okay. So I go downstairs, I'm like, what's up? He's like, I need you to go to the LSO, which is Legal Services office here at the Capitol, and I need you to get this done today. We need to get it done before session's over. Well, what do you want me to do? He's like, just do you approached us last year on it, write the bill. And I'm like, well, do you have what I did last year? Because I had submitted it the year before, but it didn't gain any traction. It got killed. And so, because there's not a lot of appetite for death penalty, and it's an Eighth Amendment issue with unreasonable, because they didn't take a life, so how do you kill them kind of a thing. It's an appellate issue for sure. And so our thought process and mine was, well, fuck, who cares? Like, let's make a statement and let's fight it in court, and let's make it to where people don't want to molest kids here.
Yeah.
And
seems like a no-brainer.
And I had been looking at the stats here, and the stats are horrendous in the state. There's been over 5,000 child molestation cases in Idaho in the last 5 years. Yeah. 5,000 in a population of 2 million. It's
disgusting.
Rampant.
Disgusting. And nothing's being done for it.
No. And everybody's getting plea deals and slaps on the wrist and rider programs. It's pathetic. So I'm like, well, what do we do? So he's like, I want to take you down there. I'm going to tell them, don't let you leave the office until it's done. I said, okay. Give me what I gave you last year, and I'll massage it into what it needs to be. So he gave me my bill from the year before, and I massaged it to kind of try to coincide with Texas and Florida. Texas and Florida both passed the law. Florida charged it, but the guy pled out, so they didn't have to worry about the appellate issue yet. It hasn't been tested at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court decided on this years ago with a different court, different makeup. We were in the upside down. We didn't have a conservative court. Now we do. So now it's like, let's make it the appellate issue so that we can get it through the court to have a new ruling. That's the thought process behind it. So, and the thought process behind it too is with child molestation, you're basically victimizing kids that are going to possibly become victimizers themselves down the road.
Which is a huge stat. Of people that don't know, the majority of people taking advantage of kids were taken advantage of as a child, right? I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen the stats where
and they have a hard time
people hurt people.
Yeah, and they have a hard time with healthy relationships. They're like a victim of their whole life because of it.
Your life is ruined. You touch a child's life there. It doesn't matter the therapy, all the ayahuasca, DMT trips you put anybody on. Your soul is that's why I am so passionate about just burning every one of these people at the stake.
Yeah. So I wrote the bill that day, and we got it done. It went through the House first. Supported it on the House side. It passed overwhelmingly. It went to the Senate side. We had 2 senators that were Republican that voted no, and they were both against the death penalty, both of them. But that didn't matter because we had it overwhelmingly supported, and it was veto-proof, and the governor signed it into law. But basically, if it has to meet certain criteria of aggravating factors that it can't, it's sad, they're all shitty, all of them, not taking anything away from them. But if you're going to try to impose a death penalty, it has to be the worst of the worst. It has to be somebody who has multiple victims, multiple counts, traumatic.
Oh, so this isn't one-timers get it?
Traumatic. Well, it can be. If there's traumatic injury, if there's like a bunch of different factors that hit, then yes, it can be a first-time offender.
Okay. They got to check certain amount of boxes.
Yeah, you got to have like.
Is that just the political game? Is that what is that? Does that come down for Governor Little saying he doesn't want to look like some hard dude? So they set those parameters like, hey, they have to. We need 6 checks out of 10 in order to actually get the death penalty.
It isn't even 6; it's only 3.
Okay, even better.
It's to basically make it look like you're trying to be somewhat reasonable in something that shouldn't even be reasonable, right? There should be a no-brainer with child molestation.
If you have the evidence, you find it on your phone, you got done, case closed. We shouldn't even be wasting time and money and resources on these trials. But
so they would always sell it with 12 and under. The worst of the worst, right? So a 13-year-old or a 14-year-old falls into a different category where the sentencing thresholds are higher, but death penalty is no longer part of it. It's only for victims when they're 12 and under that meet the criteria. And that was the only way we could get it through. It was the only way.
Is that frustrating having to write it like that?
Yeah. There's a lot of things that go on that are frustrating. The problem is the lobbyists control our government. The lobbyists control state capital and the capital of the United States. I mean, they control everything. It's special interest groups and money and
APAC.
people that can contribute to political campaigns and so
Is it okay? So you're writing this bill to now firing squad child predator molesters. Was there a point when you're writing this, like, why the fuck am I even writing this?
No.
Because you have so many. No, okay.
No, because I feel like anything is progress, and I would
Okay,
rather
yeah,
get. I
100%.
would rather have some incentive in there. All right, motherfucker, do you want to play? You want to come to Idaho and play? This is what you're going to face. Just like all the other stuff that I've written, the mandatory minimums on fentanyl trafficking and stuff. I think we need to make a statement here. Everybody thinks, oh, Idaho's this, Idaho's that. It's so hard on crime. It's not hard on crime in Idaho. We're not hard on crime.
No.
And a lot of it stems back to Ruby Ridge. There's a distrust of government here.
Yep.
And the problem is that people look at local level law enforcement the same way they look at federal agents. And they think that, like with Trump lawfare that's gone on with him and some other things, that all cops are the same. And they're not. Your local Ada County sheriffs or these other agencies, they're not the same as the federal agents that raided Ruby Ridge.
Yeah.
But they are in the eyes of a lot of people.
But when you see the streets shut down, the guys, the roadblocks, it's all the local cops and sheriffs that are out in the public eye, putting out the perimeters and creating that buffer zone. So that's all you see. You don't see the feds in there murdering people and burning places to the ground. They just see Ada County on the side of a car in a news report. They're not putting some fed on the front paper usually. So yeah, I mean, we want to lump everybody. Law enforcement is lumped into one basket, I would say, for most people.
Yeah, and I think the problem is that conservative politicians, conservative residents, constituents, you can have low taxes, you can have school choice, you can have all these beneficial property rights and Second Amendment rights and everything that we all probably want. But if you give away law and order, all those other things don't matter. Your neighborhoods are going to go to shit. Your schools are going to go to shit. Your cities are going to go to shit. Your towns are going to go to shit. Cars are getting stolen. Houses are getting broken into because nobody's being held accountable for anything. So you can have all this stuff over here, but if you don't take law and order seriously, start holding people accountable instead of the slap on the wrist, instead of making excuses that all cops are corrupt or it's government overreach or they're another arm of the government, they're trying to take away rights and they're looking for a police state. No. And you can't have it both ways with Californians are moving here and fucking this place up when in reality, people like me are saying, look, I've seen what happens. I've lived it. I've seen the worst of the worst. I don't ever want that to come here. I want to do everything possible to make sure that never happens here. But they flip the script like, well, you're coming here trying to change this place. No. I'm trying to prevent this place from ever changing to that. And the only way you can is learn from those lessons to make sure you don't ever do those same mistakes that they did down there.
So let me ask you this then, because everybody's the anti-Californians, especially everybody moving. We all feel it. As a California cop that is now retired, moved to Idaho, where do you see Idaho failing the most as far as laws? Because I feel we're so far behind the times. This is such a boomer state still.
The thing that I see is there's a lot of, this is the way we do it here. This is the way it's been. And I think that if you look at what's going on in our state right now, even in this valley, there's high-speed chases all the time.
That's my buddy saying.
There's
He's
pursuits.
Meridian PD. He's like, dude, got another chase. Got a woman on a motorcycle, this. Almost every time I see him.
There's pursuits every day or every other day. Literally. That's not an exaggeration.
Yeah.
It's one of these, whether it's Meridian or Ada or Boise or Caldwell or Nampa, because I know they're a different county, but they're part of the same valley.
You didn't name Eagle, though, because all they bougie.
Well, no, there was four,
I'm just messing with
there was 4 pursuits in Eagle in the last few weeks.
No shit.
Oh, yeah.
Eagle's
One of them was
popping, huh?
gangsters in a stolen car, tossed a stolen gun. Oh, yeah, in Eagle. So, the perception that they want to keep out here is it's a utopia, which is fine. That's what we want. I would have never moved here if this place was a shithole. They do a great job. They kick ass. They get in a lot of shit. There's a lot of officer-involved shootings out here. It's been quiet for the last year and a half, but they had a stretch of a lot of them. And one of my buddies was stabbed and shot up here on the freeway. And he was an LA cop. He lateraled here just to get stabbed, and it's ridiculous. But there's a lot of shit that goes on that people don't understand. And, with what's gone on here with encryption, they've encrypted their frequencies. You can't hear them on the scanner anymore. There's no real press release stuff that goes on. So a lot of stuff is kept, it seems like, sort of under wraps.
Why? What's the point of that?
I think they want people to think it's still that safe utopia.
I've heard this from cops, from some SF cops and guys from different parts of Cali, and they're just they've mentioned it's really weird that you have the old timers, the dinosaurs, that are not allowing certain cops to do certain things because that's not how we do it here, and how these guys will catch certain large amounts of drugs, trafficking, things that are going on, gang movement. And they're like, dude, you never hear about it. It's almost just everything's hushed because, come to Boise. We're second fastest growing city. It's the safest city in America. Yeah. Are we the safest city in America? Maybe, or are we hiding a ton of this shit for the image?
Yeah, I mean, this place is awesome.
Yeah.
It's just changing
fast.
And if we don't tap into the experience that can recognize it, and I'm not saying it's me and I'm the guy, or I'm just saying in general, if we don't listen to the guys that are lateraling here they're going to Meridian PD or wherever, that have seen it and lived it, that are already seeing the warning signs, the pursuits, the dope, the robberies are kind of picking up. There's a shooting here and there. Cars are getting ripped. Like, there's just stuff going on that 5 years ago, they weren't happening here. And I know stuff goes cyclical. Like, there's been cops shot in our state before. Sure. We've got a number of them. But, like even last year, I wrote that bill, the Bolter-Stahl bill, and it was to enhance penalties if you try to kill a cop or if you kill a cop, because the laws are weak in this state, believe it or not, for even that. And I got pushback. I got fought on.
From who?
From a lot of different folks that would surprise the shit out of you.
Republicans?
Oh, yeah, and including in law enforcement.
This is why...
Because I was the one involved, and I was the Cali cop trying to push something in Idaho that involved law enforcement, even though I'm trying to protect them. And if people who read my book, I didn't even talk about my best friend that was killed on October 5th of 2016. He was shot and killed. It's like I have had so much loss in my life and my career, and I've lived it. I've been the victim of violent crime. I've had to use my gun. Like, I've been through a lot of shit. I've had death threats. It's been a lot of stuff. And I want to use that knowledge and not make it be in vain. I want to do something to try to prevent it from being here. Or if it does happen, God forbid, we have tools to handle it.
I would say 99% of the time I would never want to take advice from anybody moving from California how to better Idaho, ever. That your opinion, gone.
Yeah.
Unless it's law enforcement. And I'm not downplaying what our men and women are dealing with here. But I'm sure you took a cop from Caldwell and compared it to a cop that started his career in Compton. And we're like, hey, what do you see? There's going to be drastic lists are going to be night and day of versus each other of comparing. And I'm not downplaying because we all have our crimes and things like that. But you would think the smart decision would be like, hey, guys, here's this group of officers that have all come from all parts of California and all these crazy cities. Let's sit these guys down. What do we need? What are the changes? What do you guys need to do? Like almost just like a round of, a come to Jesus whiteboard moment of, hey, we're not perfect little Boise Meridian anymore. We're not that. We have to face the facts. Where do we see the problems now? And I feel the majority of it's going to come back to the old timers that just need to retire and go away, to bring in some new hitters that are more probably up with the times and how everything's evolving with technology, the porn, the child trafficking, all this shit. It seems to be ramping up everywhere, not just here. But then you have all these old timers that have been sitting there for 20 years that still think that they go to the same coffee shop every weekend in Old Town Meridian, and that's their thing.
And we love that. That's why we all moved here, is for that life.
For sure. But if the old timers aren't letting us evolve with the times, with laws, law enforcement officers tying their hands on certain things because we don't want the public to know what's really going on here. I mean, how bad is that hurting us longevity wise?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I tried, like when I landed here, I had zero intention of being involved in anything.
For sure.
I got in that incident with my daughter on the ride along that we talked about early on, and I was just going to chill. We bought a house on water. I got my boat. I drove up to Coeur d'Alene and bought a boat off of the internet and got my motor home, and I'm just going to fish, and we're going to do life, And we did some traveling. About 6 months later, I'm like, I want to get involved in something. Like, I'm 50 years old at the time. 50 years old. I got to do something. And I'm still full of piss and vinegar. And I'm hearing things that are going on. There's been a couple officer-involved shootings, and then, a buddy got hurt out here. And so I'm like, no, I'm going to get involved. So then I got involved in Code 3-1, got on their legislative committee, started doing stuff at the Capitol, then started up Idaho Tough on Crime. And then I got put on the board at Crime Stoppers of Idaho. I'm still on the board there. Now I'm a peer support person with Courageous Survival of Idaho that works with vets and first responders in crisis. And then I got elected to city council. So, like, I put in a lot of volunteer time and did a lot of stuff for free. Now I got elected, which you don't get paid. I'm not doing it for the money, doing it to try to help still and make a difference. But everything else I've done is for free because passion. I love this place. I freaking love. If we lose this place, where do we move to? Wyoming sucks. Montana
That's what we're
sucks.
trying to figure out right
where do you
now.
go?
I mean, we've been here for a decade, and we moved here not even knowing there was a boom or anything. It was just an job opportunity. And my boss called me. He's like, "Hey, I need you in Idaho." And we're like, "Fuck, okay, cool." When we moved here, we're like, "Wow, this place is incredible." But just watching it in the last 10 years, we're ready. We're out of here. And so,
But where do you go?
that's the question. That's our biggest thing right now. Like, I got to go East Coast and sweat my dick off in the humidity all summer. I'm 250 plus pounds. Like, that's not big guy weather. I'm burning through shirts all day, just sweating. You know, then I don't want to go too north. I'm not dealing with the snow. I mean, it's incredible here. I mean, the neighborhoods but it's just, you know, you see how it is. It's turning quick, but that's why I hope we can get ahead of this shit. And hopefully, I mean, obviously guys like you, that's the one thing that I support with California's moving here is changing the laws for the right reasons. You know, these implementing death penalties and firing squad and all that. I mean, that's what I want to see. Like, I want my state to be, okay, you ruined a child's life, done, gone.
Well, like the pursuits, like we joked about that when I first got here. We were talking downstairs, but you know, the pursuits are out of control here right now. And I wrote a bill last session to enhance the pursuit penalties. Like, everybody's getting a slap on the wrist. There's no incentive to not run.
Yeah.
You might as well just, I'm not talking about like old school, small town, you're running from the sheriff and it's almost a joke, you know, and you're on your dirt bike laughing as you're going.
Yeah.
Like, I know plenty of people here that have lived that life.
Guilty.
I'm talking about crazy shit. Dudes with guns and drugs and stolen cars that are running here that are criminals that they get caught and they're taking a plea deal and right back out on the street. It's like, what are we doing? Why don't we start making a mandatory minimum? You want to run from the cops and cause an accident and you're in your stolen car and you're tossing the gun and you got a pocket full of dope, you should be going to prison for 10 years or 5 years, whatever, you know. But the plea deal and the rider program are right back out on the street. That's why you're seeing more and more pursuits going on. And I'm not even talking about the crotch rockets that are running from the ISP on the freeway every night and everything. I'm not even talking about that.
That was me for a long time.
But I'm not even talking about it. I'm talking about criminals that are righteously, they need to be locked up.
For sure.
And we're not. We're giving them, you know, incentive to do it again and again and again. And, you know, those are the things that I think that, you know, you'll get pushback. Some will be like, oh, you want a police state. I absolutely refuse to live in a police state. Hell no. But you got to have law and order.
For sure.
And we are the human race. We are flawed. We make mistakes. We sin
every day, and
it's going to continue. So there's got to be some incentive for people to not want to rob and cheat and pillage and steal and victimize. You know, and you get pushback on things that you wouldn't think you would in Idaho. It's crazy.
Interesting.
So it's kind of crazy.
Well, dude, Robert, I appreciate this conversation, man.
It's a long one.
3:14. How are we? 3.5 hours? Yeah, she's like, yeah, you're long. I'm like, that's
Sorry.
we could keep going. And she's like, we're good. But
there's crazy stuff. If you read that book,
I'm gonna have you back.
We didn't touch in.
I think we'll have you back on just to tell some more stories if you're ever open for it. But
the only thing I would say in the purpose of the book,
sorry, we didn't even cover this book. We probably should have.
Well, I mean, I'm not even saying for that self-promotion thing. I'm saying it more for the reason why I wanted to talk to you about like some of even the uncomfortable stuff is that there's so many of us out there in law enforcement land that all have the same experiences I do. They've been through the same chaos. They've lost friends. They've been the victims themselves. They've drank. They maybe get hooked on painkillers or suicidal ideation, divorces. There's all kinds of shit that goes on that's the purpose is that I'm pretty much an open book, literally.
Yep.
But people need to know they're not alone, you know, and we get into our own heads and we get that egotistical, arrogant type A personality of we don't need help or we don't want to ask for help or whatever. But there's so many people out there that do, and suicides are way up in law enforcement nationally. We had 4 in our agency that killed themselves in 24 hours.
What?
Yeah. You know, Idaho has had 8 suicides in the last year of first responders.
That's wild. There's clearly a huge problem in this world.
And vets. And, you know, we got another cycle of vets that are going to be coming back from areas that have been through some shit. And, you know, I've got friends that have been in Afghanistan with you and in Iraq. And, you know, look what we saw after Vietnam and some other stuff. Like, you know, I worry that the system it's broken. And so I just hate to see people that lose hope. And that's the purpose of, like, if nothing else, people could look at me like I'm full of shit or whatever. because we all have our opinions on stuff. But truly, like, I just don't want to see people making the same mistakes, or hurting themselves, or.
So what do they do? I mean, you've lived a life. You've lived a life, 25 years in law enforcement, gang task force, dealing with Mexican Mafia, shot guys, been shot at. You've seen it all. I mean, what's your advice for these guys that are getting into it or that are in it right now? I mean, what's the help that they get? What's their path?
The key is to see the warning signs, to not ignore them. When you're starting to disassociate from your own family, your own loved ones, nobody understands me. Only the people that understand me are the guys that I'm going to go drinking with after shift.
Yep. How healthy is that?
And that progresses. And then, like any other substance, a 6-pack will turn into a 12-pack, will turn into a 24-pack, will turn into, I'll try whiskey, I'll try vodka, I'll try tequila.
That turns into a fifth, into a bottle, into a handle.
Yeah. And then when the demons come up in the middle of that, guys are making poor decisions, and girls both. It's sad, and you wish that, like, courageous survival is huge here for Idaho. We did a critical incident debrief a couple weeks. I'm still doing that stuff too, and that's free. I'm not getting paid for that. That's voluntary because it matters to me.
And do you think that helps though?
Helps me?
Yeah. Do you think it helps you because you still get a little taste, but it gives you purpose?
It does give you purpose, but I truly, truly care about our men and women in uniform.
Absolutely.
I just. Like, when I see somebody who's hurting or something bad happens, it pisses me off. Like, I wish I could put my arms around them. And none of us, I get it. We're all hard asses, and we're like, fuck, I don't need shit. I'm good.
Yeah.
But dust it off, I'm back out, but the reality is it does catch up over time.
Absolutely.
And we've got divorces and all kinds of stuff, but the suicide stuff it's really shitty because it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. And people do get better, and things will get better.
Absolutely.
And, it's hard with your agencies, too. Like, nobody wants to trust the agencies. And so where do you go from there? That's why I say courageous survival's outside. It's an impartial thing, so that's why I got involved in it. So I just hope that people, the drinking and stuff, alcoholism in law enforcement is huge. I hope that people can find a way to get help through their families, through a healthy network. Working out is huge.
Absolutely. Yep.
And just not, because what I did in my darkest times is I drank and I wallowed in self-pity. I was dealing with shit at work and people talking shit, and then you got dirt bags, and you got I got sued, because when you kill somebody, you get sued even if it's justified. So I had to go through lawsuits, and it's hard.
Wears on you.
It does wear on you, but I just hope people understand they're not alone because there's people that may or may not watch this that are like going, fuck, that's where I'm at right now. What do I do? Nobody fucking cares about me. Nobody cares. My wife doesn't care. She's freaking already banging the neighbor or the pool guy or the UPS guy, and all I do is work and max out on overtime, and nobody gives a shit about my department. Doesn't give a shit. Everybody wants to fuck me over, and so that's the people that I hope will feel like, there is hope, because I was in dark spots, in my life, and now I've been remarried. I'm married for 17 years. I got 3 kids, and elected off, and like things have completely changed. But it was because there was no quit, and we're all tough dudes, and we don't have any quitness. And I think that when you ask for help, some people think that's quitting or it's weak. It's not weak. It's ultimate strength to look for help.
Really is. It took me. I'm one of those. I ain't asking for shit. The guy's a pussy. Look at him getting. Dude, no, I was the bitch the whole entire time, not asking, not reaching a hand out. That's the most coward shit you could ever do, is hide it and bottle it, because all you're doing is it's coming out on your wife, it's coming out on your kids. You lose your relationship. You start spiraling because you're not asking for help. It's the worst thing. I'm a huge advocate. Just reach out, just ask. That person doesn't help you, cool, the next person, until somebody it sticks and you get what you need. Do not ever stop asking or seeking help, because I don't know where this mentality, it's just, I don't know if it's in our DNA or what, as men. We got to be tough, and yeah, where does that get you? Down a bottle and killing yourself, swallowing a bunch of pills or a bullet in your garage while your family's in the house?
And I think that the other thing that I felt personally, I don't know if others do, but I felt like if I allowed myself to embrace my weaknesses, like a booze or whatever it was, that I was losing the edge. And I felt like almost like that Top Gun Maverick thing, that very first thing with Cougar when he had to get him back to the aircraft carrier and he turned in his wings because he lost the edge. I think that if you go through your career, profession, or your life feeling like you lost that edge, it breeds more problems, because then you're second guessing yourself with everything.
Yep.
You don't trust your judgment, your own judgment. You chalk it up like, well, fuck it, nobody cares anyways, or I'm already fucked, or and I think that's that dangerous path of, you want to be able to allow yourself to be vulnerable, to get help, but at the same time maintain control over your life and not feel like you're a piece of shit and loser, and be able to tell yourself that. So
Absolutely.
I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's kind of
I'm with
what
you.
I've seen.
Yeah, it's a really hard world. Law enforcement, I give them a lot of shit. I'm really hard on law enforcement just because of the positions and how they do, and it's so easy. This day and age, it's like, how are we getting caught doing this type of shit, right? Like First Amendment auditors and all this, or Second Amendment auditors and everything that goes on in those things. But but at the end of the day, man, just hearing your stories, I couldn't imagine. And we talked about it a little bit beforehand. Like, that's why I catch a lot of shit on it, and I'll die on that hill that our law enforcement and first responders, I put them above our veterans as far as dealing with shit. I don't even care. I've gotten roasted on it. And a lot of cops will disagree. A lot of veterans clearly disagree. Like, we've done our time. They didn't go to war. But it's like, bro, you've killed more people than most veterans that I know have killed people. Okay,
That's horrible.
Which I'm not saying that in a bragging way, but everybody thinks because you're a veteran, we're all just killing people overseas. Like, less than 1% actually sees combat overseas. Cool, you sat on a base for 18 months. Like, you're not better than a cop. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say it. That's spent 20 plus years on the streets dealing with gangs and violence and the domestic calls. You don't know what you're walking into. A car that you're walking up to every single day in the middle of the night with tinted windows. I feel cops go through so much more than us, and you guys don't have the VA. You have hardly any resources. For our charity, man, we launched a program for our charity to help, because I was all wounded vets, and then I saw what was going on in the law enforcement world. It was after that woman shot that dude. She went to pull her taser and ended up shooting him in his car, like in the ribs or whatever. Yeah. We ended up launching a whole entire program. I think our first year, we ended up helping like 3,000 cops go, because I brought on instructors from all over the country. JJ Racaza, some of the top instructors in that we have here across the country, where cops could just go get free training. And we started doing fundraisers for it. Nobody gave a shit. The only people that were donating until we got the traction going were previous law enforcement officers or spouses of law enforcement officers. No one cares about our cops, and it's such a shitty position. And so that's why it's like, when there's things, and that's why I love highlighting the good parts of it. Obviously, there's a lot of negative that come with it, just because I don't know why. It's such a fascinating world, the law enforcement, how just dog eat dog it is, and cutthroat and backstabbing, and then you have that's not even the community that you're dealing with. The fact that our law enforcement doesn't have the resources that vets do. I mean, I know motherfuckers that are 100% disabled because a 7-ton tire fell on his foot. And now this dude has full VA ratings, gets to do everything he wants, gets $4,000 a month for the rest of his life, and here you are getting death threats put on you from cartel members, and your wives are having to move. You got a wife pulling up pregnant, getting shots fired as she's coming to. Yeah. You're going to tell me that law enforcement officers don't rate what veterans do? I think we should just lump it all into some. If you are a servant of this country, military, first responders, law enforcement, smoke jumpers, anything, it should all be across the board. That's how I look. That's how I personally, I think it's fair.
No, I agree. And I've got a lot of family that have been in the military too, so I'm a huge supporter of them. That's why also with Creative Survival, like, it's all about vets. But we didn't get into it, and I know we're going to cut this short, but I did end up meeting my dad about 5 years ago, and I knew him for a year before he died. But we talked a lot about Vietnam. And
How was that?
He was a Marine in Vietnam. So
did he tell you any stories and stuff?
Yeah, but he
did. You get closure?
Yeah, I got closure. Yeah.
How was that as a 50-year-old man?
Crazy. He was still a drunk.
Was he?
Yeah, it ruined him. He talked about Vietnam every conversation.
Never. That's I talk a lot about that on here. Veterans and law enforcement's the exact same. Those guys where their job becomes their identity, and then when they leave, their identity never leaves. That's just who they are, and it's so hard to deal with those guys because Vietnam is the prime example. You know, I was in foxholes. You're like, dude,
it destroyed him.
It destroyed him, and it just
he came back, but he didn't come back. Honestly,
I think a lot of guys are coming back now, but then they look for that because it's it's a patch, that badge of honor to be a disabled veteran and serve, and then they never hey, what am I going to be now? Like if nobody knew I was a veteran the rest of my life, I'm cool with it. Like my wife sometimes, and it pisses me off so bad, I don't even know what it says, but she'd be like, you have a veteran discount if I'm buying something. Like Oakley the other day, she's like, they have a huge discount, but I'll never ask.
Yeah.
I'm like, what the fuck?
That's
like,
that pride thing, though.
Like, don't do that shit. She's like, you saved $80. And I'm like, I don't care. But it's one of those things. Like I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a host of this crazy show. And
but it should be honored, though, too, because
sure.
you're like the vets that came back from Vietnam, they got shit on.
100%.
And it's like, you do risk everything for the country, and even though it's a foreign war, it's still defending and honoring our country. And
Absolutely.
So it's like, it's a catch-22.
It's an honorable thing. I'll never downplay law enforcement or any of it. But if anybody that serves, there is an incredible something in you that got you to serve. Even if you're like, I know a bunch of buddies that I was in the Corps with. It was their only option. It was jail, prison, or the military. So I mean, no matter what the option is, but you come out an incredible person. It's an honorable thing to be able to do in any service, but it's a chapter, and a lot of guys forget that they want to continue that chapter through their whole entire life, but it's sad to bunch of pops, but
that's a whole nother. We don't have time. Trust me. I found out I'm related to somebody on the department, but I just found that out like right when he was dying.
On the department here or in
LA
LA?
Sheriff's. Somebody who I actually had gone camping with for years ended up being my cousin. I didn't even know it. Kind of funny, but we can talk a different time about that. So,
all right, buddy.
Yeah. Hey, this book thing, if people want it.
Yeah. Okay. So if
but you
anybody
read it first and tell me if you think it's worth even.
If anybody's wanting if you've made it to the end of this, which a lot do, so you have Shit Magnet, which is your memoir. It has a lot of this, every story that we probably talked about today in it. You didn't even come on to promote this. I didn't even know you were bringing this. You just brought it. I just set it here for you.
I signed it for you. It's on the inside cover.
I was reading it. I saw it popped open. So. This is great. No, I wish I would have had this ahead of time because then I would have had some stories lined up out of here. But yeah, anybody that wants to look into any of your stories, how do they support you or what you're doing, what you got going on here with Congress and legislative? Do you even need support? I mean, how do people reach out to you?
I mean, they can reach out to me through my email, I guess.
Okay, we'll link it.
Yeah, rggillis3@gmail, and then you got that. And then, I mean, supporting Crime Stoppers is huge. I'm a big proponent of that. I think it's the community working with law enforcement. You can't get it any more integrated than that.
Yeah.
And Courageous Survival is huge for Idaho because it's working with vets and first responders in crisis. So those are huge things. City council stuff. I mean, that's just. I'm not a politician. I'm a city councilman now, but what you see is what you get with me. I'm that same dude that was in all that stuff. I just put on a different hat, but I'm the same person. I'm still fighting for everybody.
Absolutely.
So
well, good for you.
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, man. I really appreciate this conversation, and it was great to get to know you a little bit. And we'll have another conversation.
Now we need therapy, right?
This was therapy.